know, is a passionate member of the MPP. And then followed by John Kuma. Yes, he did not meet me in Parliament. I left Parliament in 2021, and he joined.
So when you were leaving,
he was entering. But as a member of the MPP communication team, he was. I say he was a member of the MPP communication as well, and at one time he was part of those who are doing the schedules for members to radio and TV programs. So time in time, John Kuma, when we were in opposition, that was between 2009 and then 2016, he will be calling you and say, senior, you have to represent that on this radio A or B or C. So I used to have frequent discussions with him. When he became a deputy minister, anytime I am on radio and I need urgent information from the ministry, it's difficult getting some of the ministers and deputy ministers, but John Kuma was always readily available to give information. At times I sneak out of studio, you call him, he will quickly pick and give you information. At times on WhatsApp, he will send information to update you on issues that you are discussing or you were discussing on radio or TV. So yes, he was very close to me, and you know, it is both in MPP and NDC. As soon as you lose your seats and become ordinary party member, it's difficult even getting in touch to some of the party members, but not John Kuma. You call him, he will respond, he will listen to you. And when he was a deputy minister for finance, he was the one who the minister of finance then would be sending to meet the national communication team to update us on issues concerning the finance ministry. So we used to have regular meetings with him. And when he comes, he will give you the update and what we require from the ministry. Always smiling. John Kuma will meet you and you always see his teeth smiling at you. One thing that he will also do will always refer to his seniors as senior. Senior AP, how are you? And in fact, he's not because he's there today that some of us are talking about the good things that he did. In fact, he's a friend, and the MPP has lost a gem. My brother, if you look at what this young man at age 45 has been able to acquire in life, I'm talking about acquire life not in terms of property, but knowledge, the education. He did the LLB, he done the masters, PhD, and not one masters. So some of us have started asking ourselves, so with all this knowledge, this young man is going to be buried with it. I don't think his family, MPP, and the country, Ghana, enjoyed what we're expecting of him or what he himself wanted to give to Mother Ghana. And it's very painful. But all what we can say at this moment is that we can only share our condolences with the family. We sympathize with them, and we ask God to keep the soul of Honorable John Kuma. We are very sad. When I heard the news, it hit me. People have started to give reasons and the causes of the death. People are narrating stories out.
In fact, that is the next level of the conversation.
Exactly.
There's been a lot of speculation about the fact that...
I just want us to be very careful, the speculations, and wait for the pathologists to come out with a test report to know exactly what caused the death for this young man. Some of us still cannot find why such young, energetic, knowledgeable man should die at this moment.
Well, so yes, so that's Samuel Ayipe. He's a member of the New Patriotic Party. There's Samuel Ofosuba, who says that, good morning, Wilberforce and your noble panel. I'm deeply saddened by the demise of former Deputy Finance Minister John Kuma. My condolences to the wife, Apostle Lillian Kuma, the family, and the MPP fraternity. Okay, so that's that is the state something. A message that somebody just posted. Death, it hits where it pains. Who would have imagined a young, vibrant, and dynamic person like John Kuma would live would live so soon. Okay, will leave. I believe he wants to say to leave so soon. May his soul rest in peace. That is Godfred Gazo. Godfred, thank you for your message. And all the speculations that have been going around, Samuel, about this and all that. We have some clarity on it on Asase Radio, and we will be bringing that clarity. And when I say clarity, we mean we have something from the horse's own mouth that will clarify these issues to confirm that John did not die of poisoning like is being speculated, and that the family and the closest of people are saying that, look, we knew that our beloved was not well. And even before those speculations came out, yes, we knew that he wasn't. But, the wife has filed a case at the police asking that a certain Captain Smart should be invited and investigated because he's the one who is purported to have speculated that some John had died of poisoning. And even the poisoning is not clarified because food poisoning, you can buy any food anywhere and it can be maybe it has been kept for long, it was dry and stuff like that. You can have food poisoning, or somebody can actually put something lethal in food for you to eat and for you to die of it. And so all the speculations people are complaining about and all that, it looks like it's a figment of their imagination. I don't know what you think about it.
Well, I am not a medical doctor, but I know the difference between poison and food poisoning. And I want a medical doctor, if any of the radio stations, including Asase Radio, will invite a medical doctor, maybe on phone, to differentiate between poison and food poisoning. You see, when somebody put poison, as you said, in the food, and you eat the food, that might be quite different from what we refer to as food poisoning. For instance, if a food is prepared and it is not kept well, and you eat the chemical reaction of the food in your stomach can poison your system, and that is referred to as food poisoning. I stand to be corrected anyway. As I said, I'm not a medical doctor, and we've all gone through that experience before in life. At times you eat a particular type of food and you have a reaction in your stomach, either it will cause you to run, to vomit, or at times when you run and you vomit for a period of time, you may even go to hospital, they'll put drip on you, and the doctor will say that, oh, this is food poisoning. That necessarily doesn't mean that somebody has put poison in your food. So when people started on social media, food poison, I was expecting any of these bloggers to call a medical doctor to explain to us what we mean when we say food poison, when a medical doctor says food poison, because one of these social media speculations said that Wontumi and John Kuma ate the food in Tamale.
Yes.
And then in the night, they rushed to Wontumi's hotel room upon a call that he made. And then the person said, when the doctor attended to Wontumi, the doctor said he was expecting food poisoning. Food poisoning, I was expecting the man to ask further questions. When a doctor says food poisoning, it means that it may, and I'm using the word may, means that the person might have eaten a food that had been kept for a long, or that was not kept properly, or the mixture wasn't done properly and must get a reaction in the stomach that has caused the vomits of that person. That does not mean that somebody has intentionally put a poison in the food for you to eat and die. So I'm happy you are saying that, yes, we've been able to speak to people who are close to the late John Kuma and also the family members, and we are going to get the actual cause of death. Though we haven't gotten the pathology test report right now, but at least they knew that the late John Kuma wasn't well before even this alleged food that they ate in Kumasi. So and also you made mention of the family, especially the wife of John Kuma, asking the police to invite and investigate issues raised by Onia FM, yes. Captain Smart. When I listened to Captain Smart on the social media, I said, how can you be so specific? How can you, if they invite you, do you have evidence? He was able to mention the type of food they ate. He was able to say that he knew the one who served the food. The issues are so serious. So I agree that not even there shouldn't even be a complainant. I was expecting the police CID to quickly invite, because if somebody dies, and not any mere person like a deputy minister and an MP, and somebody was so emphatic, so emphatic to say that, oh, I knew the food he ate, I knew the one who served the food, quickly that person should be invited. So I don't think the police should even wait for the wife to make a complaint before Captain Smart is invited for questioning.
Okay.
He was so specific on the issues that he raised, and it has gone viral. So people are all talking about the poison, and I'm surprised the way some people have politicized the whole thing, thinking that MPP and poisoning, MPP and acid bathroom. These things. If you are a relation of John Kuma, a 45-year-old man who have gone through series of education to attain a law degree and attain a PhD, and have gone through life to become a CEO, an entrepreneur owning about 2-3 businesses, a deputy minister, and a member of parliament. If you have lost such a person, and somebody on radio, on social media, come out to say all sort of things which are not true, definitely for a family member of John Kuma, you will not be happy. And I don't think why people want to take political score. I don't know if they even saying score, but political advantage, and politicize everything that happened, including a death for such a young man. I simply don't understand. And I think we have to stop doing some of these things. It doesn't help. If he's your family member, definitely you will not be happy. And
so Nick Bakpo Samoa Addo is a legal practitioner. He's also the managing. Are you the managing partner or the head of chamber?
I'm the managing partner.
Okay. Of Addo, and also a lecturer at the Gimpa Law Faculty. I believe that you followed the revelations and news about the sad passing of John Kuma. Your quick thoughts on his demise and matters arising.
Let me first and foremost say hello to our esteemed listeners and viewers on Facebook and online. Let me also say hello to my fellow panelists, and let me apologize for my forced absence last week. People who know the show know that unless I'm not in the country, even if I'm not in the country, I still participate in the show. But last week I had to bury my elder sister, and I want to say thank you to all those who came around to support, those who were not able to physically come, but also send their well wishes and support. My family and I are very grateful. Wilberforce was there in person to mourn with me. I'm very grateful. The Asase family, the day the news was broken, even my birthday, Asase called me and wished me well, and also expressed their condolences. CEO, everyone here. It's a big family, and I'm very, very grateful, including Chairman Mr. Gabi. He also extended his well wishes, and he was a very generous person. I'm also grateful. It's quite interesting that I've had to start the day with the issue of death.
Yeah.
John Kuma was a personal friend. John was an SRC leader. In his school days. That is actually where our paths crossed for the first time.
Did he win that SRC election?
No, I did not. But I met him as a student leader.
Yeah, John Kuma and Abebe.
Yes.
I remember that.
Okujato Ablakwa, Senyor Hussein, all those others are all former student leaders. So if you see them vibrant today, they are product of student politics, And John, since that time up till now, has been a personal friend. We've not talked for a while, but whenever he sees you and he knows you, John will always extend a hand. And John is a pleasant person. and his passing is quite painful and unexpected. That's the sad thing. But death is death. I mean, death is a finality. You can search for the reasons and you can search for the answers, but it doesn't bring the person back. You understand? Of course, if there's some controversy about his passing, then it behoves on the family and the persons associated with him to do the needful. I mean, even traditionally, where there's the suspicion that he didn't die a natural death, the family goes and asks at the appropriate quarters for answers, because death demands closure. You understand? The family, those who survive, want to know that, look, you passed naturally, and that even for those who are old, 70, 80, 90, you still mourn. Even though some call this a celebration of life, they're still mourning. How much more a young man, who was in the prime of his life, politically, socially, and everything. And if you look at his pictures, until the Kumasi visit, which was his last visit with the new finance minister, there you could see he was a bit frail, and from the reports that we gather, he had some issues, I think that health issues are personal issues, and I wouldn't want to get into the details of it. But if you read from what journalists have put out, Nana Taupoku, who is quite a prominent sports journalist and a friend of the gentleman, I think, we are gradually moving away from our cultural norms. One, being the first to break the news about the death of somebody, it's un-Ghanaian. You understand? Death, even the way we inform somebody about death, is a managed process. I recall on my wedding day, the day before my uncle died, the 23rd, in the US. I spoke to him, and apparently it was a statement. My aunties in the US, my mother's side, all of them are in the US. Everybody knew he was dying, but nobody told me because it was my wedding. So they made me even speak to him, and he even made an effort. My uncle made an effort to talk to me to reassure me that he was getting better. So I went to my wedding on the 24th of December, fully assured that he was okay. Apparently, he passed the next day. So whilst we were celebrating, members of my family at the reception, wedding reception was in the evening, knew that he had passed. Nobody told me.
Yeah, that's proper management of
and nobody told even my mother was not aware. That's from my mother's brother. Her siblings, who are all in the US, made sure that she was not told. You understand? It was after everybody literally had left and we're about making our way, looking at the last guest, that one of my cousin's wives came in, and unfortunately, and my condolences to her today. She's her adopted father is being buried today in Kumasi. So wherever she is in Kumasi today, I'm sure she might be listening. I wish her the best today. I should have been in Kumasi myself today, but this show also sometimes is a priority, So she then came to the reception grounds and mistakenly just said that, are we aware that my uncle had passed just a few hours ago? They almost beat her up. My cousins and others almost beat her up there. Yeah, immediately, exactly. So immediately, my mother and my siblings had just left the funeral. The wedding reception. Yeah. So I had to place a call to one of my siblings to seize my mother's phone. Mm-hmm. Because I knew the relationship between my mother and and she was also going through her own health challenges. So I didn't want the news to be broken to her in the method and manner that it had been broken to me. That literally killed at my wedding reception. So that literally killed the reception vibe. You understand? So they took her phone. It was a full day after. She was looking for a phone. She couldn't get her phone because, of course, without a phone at the time, Facebook and things had not really taken off. So
yeah.
she couldn't have known
Exactly.
except through the phone. So it was a day or two after that the news was broken to her.
Yeah.
You
Properly
understand?
and officially.
Properly and officially.
So
You
this was
understand?
her senior brother or
This was the junior brother,
brother.
you know, and that's when she told me that the loss of a sibling. And I was wondering why she was so sad, because I was like, normally I thought it was the parent that you said. She told me that you won't understand until you lose a sibling. The loss of a sibling is more painful than the loss of a
Because
parent.
you grew together from your infancy,
it is when my elder sister
sleeping
died.
in the same room, eating from the same
Exactly.
bowl.
and he lost
from a
his
child.
elder sister just last week.
Yeah,
a
my
day,
condolences to
a day
you.
before
Yeah,
my
yeah,
birthday. So
yeah,
it was when I lost my sister that I actually understood what my mother had
Exactly.
said. That the loss of a sibling is more painful than the loss of a parent.
I've experienced it. Not my sibling per se, but a cousin
Exactly.
who was very close to me.
Exactly.
A cousin, my auntie's son, who was a friend to me. Apart from being my auntie's son, he was my personal friend. And when he died, you feel it. You definitely, you'll be seeing him in dreams. I don't know if because you've been thinking
until
of
you
him
bury
or-
until you bury the person, you will always see the person. I don't know what I don't know what it is, but it is. I only could sleep after I had buried my mother, after I had buried my father, after I had. In fact, my father, when he died in the house, the dogs barked the whole night. And so some of these things make me understand and believe that things are around, you know. So
spiritual.
my point is, the Ghana Journalists Association and the National Media Commission need to reorient journalists about how to.
My mother, I'm not
handle-
cutting you short. Those bloggers, are they journalists? They are not.
Whatever it is, you
And
know.
they are.
We are.
I don't want to
we
use
are
the word
losing-
nuisance. They are those who are creating.
Chief,
this,
it wasn't
this
even the
problem.
bloggers. So even on look, I can tell you that immediately he died in the ambulance, on the Sum Road. It was on WhatsApp platforms.
Yes. They started Black Thursday.
You
Then when you
understand?
go to the comments,
Yes.
you see all a lot of
and
things.
so within minutes of his death, I knew that John had died. It's un-Ghanaian. You understand? We there's a reason why we have that, and it is when you have actually been a victim or when you've lost somebody that you appreciate the need to news manage the information, because sometimes the recipient may not have the shock absorbers.
Yes, to
you understand?
absorb
To
such a shock.
absorb, especially when it has their children, their
wife.
the wife. Maybe he has a mother who is old. You understand? Some people don't take bad news in. So look, in one situation, we had to bring. Normally, when you see pastors, you know, so your relative is ill, they say, oh, we are taking the person to the hospital. Then after 2 or 3 hours, you see a delegation of pastors. You know, that is usually even you have to go and look for some elderly people who know how to deliver
such information.
You understand? Because the delivery of such information is a managed process. You understand? So I am I'm very disappointed in the manner in which it was like there was a rush to break the news first that John Kuma is dead. What is the newsworthiness of breaking the news that somebody is dead? I can understand if it's the president. You understand? Yeah, I can understand. Look, and even that has national security implications.
People, my brother, I'm not cutting you short, but people take, I don't know, they feel honored when they are the first person to
It
break
is
the news.
senseless.
You see, look at what the Speaker of Parliament did. When she first received the information, he suspended sitting.
Yes.
He went back for him to be officially and properly informed. And then he called the MPs back into the chamber.
Exactly.
And officially informed them.
Exactly.
And even that, Honorable Abra Osiesan fell.
You understand?
Yeah, even that.
It hit her
I don't know.
very,
So,
very
I
hard.
don't know whether she collapsed, but she went down, crying.
And
Look at the manner, the way the information was delivered to them, and even that.
And even at that level, you understand. And you see, John had a huge impact on his constituency. The number of people he was taking care of, the number of people that relied on him, you understand? You don't break this news in the manner in which, because look, there's protocol to be followed.
Exactly.
The president has to know. He's the sitting minister of state. There's a protocol, his party. There's a way and manner in which these things are done, and they are for good reason. So I want to appeal to the journalists and the news. Look at the way the British managed the breaking of the news of the death of the Queen. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It is not for nothing. You understand that there's a protocol for delivering such news. It wasn't as if they didn't know. You understand? It wasn't as if people didn't know that she had cancer.
It will come as a speculation about the confirmation. If in our traditional setup, when a chief or somebody from the royal home dies, it have to be kept. Even the chief, after the chief, it is 40 days.
Yes.
So it will come as a speculation.
Yes.
And people will continue, those from the royal home,
You can speculate.
will continue to reject the speculation until they come out.
Because you need to
officially.
inform.
There are so many things that need to be
Yes.
done.
In
One,
fact-
the cause of the death must be established by the family before they come out. To avoid all these speculations, if the family has been properly informed,
Yes.
they've gone through the process to know the cause.
Yes.
The announcement of his death will come with the cause of the death.
Exactly.
So it will avoid these unnecessary speculations of being poisoning and all that.
Yeah,
Because it was not
We have
managed
taken-
properly.
we have taken politics to a very nasty level.
Yes.
You understand? I'm not saying that the speculations, look, they say there's no smoke without fire. You understand?
Speculations.
Speculations, yes,
at the edge of death, there will be speculations.
speculations, yes.
Yeah.
And if you are going into the details, you actually realize that no, the person was actually battling an ailment.
Yeah.
You understand? It is people's personal ailments are private. You understand? They want to deal with it privately, so he may not want to come out and come and say that. And that's probably one of the things that we must break as a what do you call it? As a tradition in this country. When you're a public figure, it may be important, you understand, that when you are dealing with certain health issues, you may have to issue, look, for example, the U.S. Secretary of Defense. You see, when you occupy certain positions, your health status is public information.
That I was waiting for you to finish.
Yes,
that I'll come in with this.
Yes.
Quite recently, we had an information that the King of England
Yes.
was suffering from a
Prostrate.
Yes. But they came out officially. I think
Exactly.
once we want to learn from them,
Yes.
the type of governance, the type of democracy they are practicing, I think we must learn it well.
Yes.
It is important when such people die, we come out with the cause of death. It must be official. So that
Even before that, when you are dealing with a certain ailment,
Yeah.
that probably impedes or could interfere with your work. You understand? It may be important for us because, of course, the finance minister during COVID, when he had to come out with a full statement. You understand?
This
Because
is the
you see,
problem I'm facing.
you are human. You see that I know it is difficult. Traditionally, it is not permissible. You think that your political enemies may capitalize on it. I can understand. Our democracy is at its infant stages, and there are certain things but ailment is ailment. I mean, I don't know anybody in this world who can prolong his life more than a day beyond what you are assigned by the Lord, that this is the day I'm going to call you. The only thing is that we don't know the day, but the certainty is that everybody will die. So if you know that fact, you should not be afraid of death. You should be somebody who, especially when you're in public life, that look, you will not be in public life forever. Okay? And so when you are facing a health challenge, as much as it is a personal issue, at least give a hint that look, I am not well. I have a health challenge. I am taking to. So if you see, because sometimes you see the drastic change. If you look at John's pictures before the Menchia visit, and you look at the Menchia visit, clearly you can see that there was something wrong. You understand? And so,
but there's one. I'm not cutting short, but there's one thing we must also do if we can do away with it. You mentioned the politicization and the political advantage your opponent may take. So you could see that some of the politicians, the leading members of this country, I'm talking about both parties, when they got sick, some of them are finding it difficult to even receive treatment in this country. If the scenario we have heard is true, that John Kumah was in his constituency and he was the illness was getting bad, look at the distance from Ejuso to Konfanoche and from Ejuso to airport to Germany.
He would do it. He would do it.
They will never send him to Konfanoche
because of the possible speculations.
Yes. Exactly. So
Okay.
there's the need for us to see how best we can.
I think that
let me establish. Let me establish that we've been joined by Madame Gloria Ofori-Buedu, managing partner at GOB at Law. Did I get it right?
GOB Law Consult.
GOB Law Consult. Okay, so Madam, we need to get the microphone a little bit closer to you. Not you yourself. The microphone should come closer to you. My producer, my technicians will come and do that. But quickly, we just wanted to touch base with you since you are now coming about the sad passing of John Kumah. But we have an interview with John Kumah's wife.
Okay.
It is an exclusive interview to Asase Radio. We are going to play that interview in full on Monday during the breakfast show. But I just have a short portion of it that I want us to play to bring some little clarity right from the horse's mouth. This is the wife of the man who has just died. And I'm told that that voice is ready. We will play that voice momentarily, and then I'll come to take your comments. Then we'll move on to the next discussions that we are going to have. But as they put the voice together and give me a signal that it is ready, let me read these messages. So there is a message from Richard who says that my deepest condolence to the family and children of Honorable John Kumah. Such a fine brain gone. I pray for the autopsy report will bring finality to this issue. This is not mere joke that we should leave unattended to. My regards to Honorable Samuel Ayepe. I'm listening live from Suhum. Thank you, Richard, for listening to Asase Radio all the way in Suhum. There is Baba Chairman who says that Lawyer John Kumah may have left us so early and sudden, but I believe he has lived a fulfilled life. John Kumah had his flaws as a human being, but was very humble, very eloquent, very respectful, and above all, very modest in dealing with others. I just can't stop crying. But for those who are saying he and others were poisoned, it is only natural that those people are called to answer some questions. And then there is Eunice Champoma who says, John Kumah, rest in peace. And well done, Ni, for coming early this morning. And that is from Eunice Champon to you, Ni Papu. All right. So let's take a listen to the wife of John Kumah. This is just a teaser.
They are speculating about his death. It's really unfortunate and it's discouraging. And in fact, Mama is disappointed in even the legal systems in Ghana. Argentina obi aye bold eka and some say onipa odine ho abo for say ama mine. This guy lived all his life for this nation, right from campus. And if indeed, say obi a poison, a brana or ye juma, ama omaino, and in a political party, why should we sit down and not bring that person to book? Now, just say, then this country is not worth living. In fact, living for left alone to talk about dying for. If it's true, say. Obi timi nipa oye living being onye ghost say onim how my husband died, that he was poisoned, and that person is still moving around for the past 3 weeks. Just say eye me jana eye ma reho na minim how America asem no say emre bi was as a crowe mu a ekasampa. I think this is the time, and I'm telling the laws of the land and even the leadership of the land that they should bring that, that wicked man, that, I don't know, the Captain Smart is all children, Omumbe Yinimpi. And yes, on my way, me and Kasami Mubabi Ampun, Obesumo Mino. If say the Captain Smart take me de minim ni se me kunu yare minim se me kunu yare but the Captain Smart say ye poison no evidence no mind we say e man a was so be soon na ode ne kra to homa omoma no credit na di anyesa me ankasa mbuna meka no child of my womb will serve this country because now it's very disappointing.
All right, so that's the voice of Apostle Lillian Apostle Lillian Kumar, and she's the wife of the late John Kumar. We had an interview with her last night. The full audio, which is about some 30 minutes, will play on the Asase Breakfast Show on Monday. This is just a portion of the communications that we had with her. Madam, so you've heard the wife. This is just a lengthier interview. She says a lot of things and all that, but that will be on the morning show on Monday. So stay tuned and listen to the full audio. But quickly, your thoughts on the sad passing of John Kumar and matters arising.
Well, she's looking at the legal aspect, which is fair, you know. I'll look at the health aspect. I'm wondering why such an eminent person in our society should be driven on the road all the way to Accra in an ambulance. Didn't we have any helicopters to, you know, get him to Accra, or a team at Komfanochi to check on him? I think emergency situations in respect of health should be relooked at. I remember when Honorable Anda had an accident on the Winneba Road. I remember we are informed that he was transported to the military hospital by helicopter, right? By air, and that, I'm sure, contributed a higher percentage to his survival. So we should have all these standby emergency and trauma prevention equipment in all our communities, so that we don't have a whole deputy minister being driven to Accra. Sometimes when there's traffic, it's about 8 hours. It takes you about 8 hours for that journey. A journey we should have been about 4 hours. So my heart breaks when I think of that. I think that was a failure in our system, and it should not be repeated for everybody.
Okay, so Nick Kpakpo is welcoming Mr. Jantua. Can you imagine? That is like a real change. But Mr. Jantua was magnanimous enough to inform us that he was caught up with something somewhere, another station, and that is the reason why he has come late. So he hasn't taken over your position.
I can't. Not possible.
So, Mr. Jantua, quick comments about John Kumar. I know you follow the discussions a lot, but quickly, let me get this out of the way. Good morning, Wilberforce. Some journalists are creating a problem for this country. It's very dangerous, and that's Enoch. And so Enoch appears to agree with the assertions made by Nick Kpakpo on the issues of journalism. I welcome the future Ebuakwa MP, Gloria Ofori-Boadu. My greetings from Achim Asafo. Gloria, you have some intentions.
Yes.
Okay.
I lost.
You lost,
yes.
Okay. You say you are the future Ebuakwa MP. So Achim Asafo is my father's hometown, actually.
Really?
Yes. Okay,
we are definitely related.
Yes. So your intro on John Kumar's death is comforting. It's comforting me, and again making very sad on the other hand. So somebody is agreeing with your assertion and saying that, thanking you for that. Mr. Jantua.
Good morning, and once again I apologize for being late. When duty calls, you cannot say no. So, at least I'm here. Oh, John, that's a very sad thing that happened. I was shocked when I heard it. But you know what came to me? When I heard the process in which he finally lost his life. Apparently they wanted to fly him. Found out that he wasn't strong enough to go on the flight. Decided to take an ambulance. Got to Suhum. And then he got worse. Took him to Suhum Hospital. Unfortunately, we lost him. The first thing that came to mind was, why aren't we able to have good hospitals? Why should he have been flown to Germany? Yes, it was also said that he had already gone for treatment in Germany earlier on in the year. But why? Why should we have hospitals that can't look after us? 67 years after independence, we are still taking our people out for treatment. What if he weren't a deputy minister of finance? What if he wasn't in government? Because you see, on the whole, not everybody can afford to go to Germany for treatment. So we should try as much as possible to have our hospitals be tip-top. And this is, once again, where I say, it's not politics. Politicians, it's not politics. Having good hospitals is not politics. Having good hospitals should be a national issue where we all put our heads together and try our possible best to have good hospitals for the people. It's a service you can't play with. Hasn't John lost his life? It could be me, it could be you. It could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be your brother, it could be your sister, it could be your friend. And so we should not play politics with some of these things. Party in power always lend a green olive. Look, yeah, we're in power. This is what we're trying to do. In this area, in this area, in this area. It affects the people. Let's try our possible best to work together. And you see, the essence of working together has got to do with one party cannot be in power forever. So that there is some continuity when another party comes in. Because you have been part and parcel of decision making. Not that the president wants to build 111 hospitals, then we poo-poo it from the start. But the president shouldn't say that I'll build 111 hospitals from scratch when you know the 111 hospitals might not be able to be finished within your tenure. Don't do that. Do what you can. As they say, live according to your means. Especially when you know in this country, finance is a very challenging thing for us. But it's a shame. It's a shame that we've lost John Kumah. I got to know him around 2015, 2016 on, say, media. I never knew him. It was media. And before he got into power, he was very ferocious in his arguments. Sometimes to the point of, if you could even punch him on set. But you could see that he was a fine gentleman, whatever the case is. The way he even approached issues, the way he talked about it, the way he analyzed it. We've lost a gem in our politics. But may he rest in perfect peace. May he so rest in perfect peace.
Okay.
But what did he say about journalism?
You know, his issue was really about the manner in which the news was made public, and the fact that there are some courtesies that are extended even to persons who die, and that the family must be informed appropriately and all that before there are speculations over the media, breaking news here and there, and he thinks that it hits family people. But he gave his own example of an uncle who died during his wedding and how that they had to manage the situation, because if they didn't manage it, it will mess up so many things and all that. So he's talking about the management of some of these news and how it is.
But have you read social media, things they're writing about John Kumah? I read some bits. I just stopped reading. That he has a mansion in America. And they brought somebody's mansion, put his picture next to it. I mean, that he was poisoned. Come on, Daniel. Come on. 6 children. He's left 6 children behind. It's not going to be easy for his wife. Let's be sympathetic.
And we have had an interview with the wife. We played just an excerpt of it on the show today. The full audio, which is about some 25 to 30 minutes, will air on the morning show on Monday. The full interview. So that's what we would do. For now, let's quickly switch over to the next line of our discussion, and that has to do with the naming of Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman as the running mate to John Dramani Mahama. I will start with you on this, Ayipain, and then I'll come to the others. Quickly, this is a repetition of the 2020 ticket, the NDC 2020 ticket. Is your party worried about it?
Just before I go into that, just a quick response to what Mr. Johnson just raised in connection with people receiving treatment, medical treatment outside this country. Yes, I agree with him that we need to upgrade some of our hospitals, especially the teaching hospitals. But just quite recently, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital has been able to do kidney transplants. They have advanced most of their clinics within the hospitals, and they are doing very well. I suspect that the reason why most, not all, of the people who receive treatment outside is the fact that it's a fact of confidentiality. You know how we do our politics in this country. So somebody may think that, oh, this man treatment, I can get even proper treatment from Kolebu. But how confidential would that be? So why not, if I have the means to travel to Germany, if I have the means to go to the United States, Canada to receive treatment where people will not come and speculate what is actually wrong with me, why not there? But I also want to agree with Ni when he said that when you become a public figure, it is important we find a way of making our health conditions known to the public, like the finance minister, the former finance minister did quite recently on his health. Though people raise issues about it, but I think it is important we start doing that. When that is done, the situation in which people travel outside the country for treatment may reduce. It may not go down totally, but might come down a bit. I also want to use this opportunity, if they are listening to us, our medical professionals, to be also very careful and handle the the confidentiality in some manner that will encourage people to seek treatment from such hospital. I have a cousin who was sick. I went to visit him at a particular hospital. The doctor made certain prescription for him to do lab tests, including hepatitis B. Just before we do the test, a nurse ran from the lab to the wife. Hey, you see, we can hepatitis B until we are positive. Then I was also test. You see, how can you do that? A nurse, how can you do that? You ran to the wife to tell the wife that the doctor says your husband should go and do hepatitis B. So when it turns positive, it means you must also be screened. You see, we haven't even done the test. We don't even know the outcome of the test. So it is important they also know how to handle some of these things. Even if I'm positive for hepatitis B and I have to tell my wife, I have to tell her, not you, the nurse. Nobody has assigned you to go and inform the patient's wife of what he's suffering from.
So before you go on to the substantive question, Madam Gloria wants a reaction. Yes.
No, I just want to emphasize that Ghana is a hub for health tourism in the sub-region. I have friends from Liberia and Cote d'Ivoire who came to Ghana for medical support, and it was effective. But I still want to emphasize our emergency and trauma management. I think it's an area we have to look at so that it will be beneficial or other beneficiaries, not just public figures, but even the ordinary Ghanaian or residents in Ghana or someone who visits Ghana can benefit. Our trauma and emergency management must be improved upon. And so I guess it's the budget. It's a budget issue, and also the GME, the Ghana
Medical Association.
Yes, so they should look at that, because, and I still emphasize that airlifting. Maybe he couldn't. The late Honorable John Kuma could not sit on a passenger flight, but if there had been an opportunity to airlift him with an ambulance, a helicopter which doubles as an ambulance, I'm sure it could have saved him, just as Honorable Anda had that opportunity, and probably that promoted his survival.
My emphasis is on the people. Look, Akufo Addo has to handle most of the cases from the north, from central, what do you call it, Ghana, middle belt of the country. That hospital alone, and that can be pressure. Kolebu can be pressure. So I'm saying that all the cheap compounds and all those types of
must also be upgraded.
Should be upgraded.
Yes.
So that the people don't have to travel. Today, women are sitting on a boboya to go and give birth.
By the time they get to the hospital,
And so the
then what you call
emergency
it
comes
is
in,
gone.
the trauma management comes in, and it should be.
So let's try and upgrade
It
our
should be
hospitals
available.
every year.
my brother,
Yeah.
we are doing
Every
it.
year.
The MPP party is having a program called Agenda 111. The reason is that every district must have a district hospital, a standard district hospital. Those that I've seen with my eyes are district hospitals highly standard. When completed, will be able to handle some of the situation. The problem I have with those who handle John Kume's the late Honorable John Kume's situation is that when you send a person to hospital, if he's not stable enough to be lifted, whether by air or road, the doctor will insist that let him handle him a bit, let him be stable. It has happened to me. My uncle was sick at some government hospital. When I went there, Dr. Ablo, I'm not going to teach you how you should do your work, but looking at my uncle's condition, can you please give us a referral to Kolebu? He said, Honorable, I know you can lift your uncle to Kolebu, but in his situation, before you get to Kolebu, your uncle will be dead. So wait, let him handle him for him to be stable. The next day, doctor called me and said, Honorable, I think with this you can take your uncle to Kolebu, and he gave us a referral and we sent him to 37. So at times you must send a person to a hospital for him to be stable in a condition where he could be transported from one hospital to the other. No medical doctor would give such a person to you, knowing very well that without proper handling he may die on the road, or the doctor himself may accompany the person, the sick person, to the next hospital, hand him over to the next doctor before leaving. So I think it was not properly handled, but that is not what we have to discuss now. It is important when such issues come, we must see where we need to position ourselves. As Honorable Jantua said, there's a need for us to upgrade some of our cheap compounds and disease hospitals, and that is exactly what the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo government is doing in terms of this Agenda 111, where every district, including Ayensuano, will have a standard hospital that may take care of some of these things. Cesarean cut, as he mentioned, could be done at the disease hospital, so there's no need for you to sit in Abobo Yato, Samankese, or Suhun when you want to give birth on cesarean cut at Kota.
Okay, so I'll let you answer the substantive question I asked, but clearly, the President Akufo-Addo in 2020 indicated that COVID-19 exposed Ghana when it comes to our health infrastructure.
Exactly.
And that was because there were some 88 districts in this country
without
who didn't have hospitals. Yes. So he was very emphatic on saying that the country was exposed.
Did we not know that we didn't have it?
No,
Back.
But that is why I'm saying that he said
it
has to be a continuous process.
But what
it has to be a continuous process.
Yes, what I'm saying is that the president actually says that we were exposed. What it means is that even if the statistics was there, we didn't know.
Exactly.
Or we had not paid attention to it.
Why? Why? What do we have a Ministry of Health for? Why?
If you know, there's one thing knowing it and another thing knowing that I have to take attention of this, to pay attention.
How? Health.
And that's why we are making recommendations for.
Without health, we cannot be sitting here.
Emergency and trauma.
Should be number one.
Yeah. Okay, so indeed.
Better late than.
No, I don't take it for health. Better late than never, you die.
So they are doing it.
Health. Better late than never, you die.
111,
I think
which
that
86 are disease hospitals.
I think the argument will be that you if you identify that you have a problem, you take steps to solve the problem. Sometimes it will take time to solve it. But if you didn't do anything about it at all, for example, if you discovered in 2020 that you had 88 districts that didn't have hospitals, and as at 2024, you had not taken any step at all to solve that problem, then it becomes a big issue.
And we didn't know. But we are going for elections. We are doing manifestos. We don't know. We do research. Okay. We don't know.
So let's move on now. And
Benjamin
says that good morning,
Wilberforce. There's a progress report.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Benjamin says that good morning, Wilberforce. Please, I want to find out if anyone ranting on radio or television is qualified to be called journalist. If yes, then I cry for Mother Ghana. The issue here is that the so-called journalists feel they are authority on every issue, and that is Benjamin's concern. Benjamin Mensah, Brekum Mensah. Yes, your concern is a genuine concern, if you ask me, because not everybody who is sitting on radio and talking and ranting is qualified as a journalist. as a journalist, you need to be trained.
Yes, and belong to an association.
An association.
Exactly.
Yes.
Just like
I am a
engineers, you might
journalist.
be trained as an engineer, a member of the Ghana Institute of Engineers before you can even call yourself an engineer.
Okay.
So it is important.
Is the journalist trade like the law trade? Where when you finish law school, you have to do litigation, whatever the case might be.
You have to do some licensing.
Yeah, you have to do litigate. You have to do. Is journalists like that?
No.
So you have to specialize. You don't
specialize. Like this government is doing for teachers. I think same must be done on journalists. So that you must become a licensed journalist. Not that when somebody attended GIG, he couldn't finish at level 100, 200. When he drops out, he's a journalist going around reporting and doing all sort of things. It is important we start to license them so that before you be allowed to be on radio as you are, you must be a licensed journalist. And there must be an institution.
We didn't know.
And licensed.
We didn't know.
Okay, Aibe, so let's talk about the NDC running mates.
Well, there's one thing I've learned in 2020 elections. I underrated my opponent, and with the help of an independent candidate, I lost election by 241 votes.
Wow.
Though the independent candidate pulled as much as 3,600 votes. But I was thinking that, as for the NDC, there's no way they could win the Ayusiano because my predecessor, an MP, held the constituency for 8 years and held it for 12 years. So totally, it was 20 years. So more or less, it's not a safe seat, but not a swing seat for MPP. And being that we lost, or I lost the seat. So for me, in any election that I go, I take it so serious, irrespective of who is contesting me. So I want to make a passionate appeal to my party MPP not to underrate the 2024 election, and also not to underrate the person that the NDC Fabera has picked as a candidate or as a running mate. So for me, there's the need for us to do assessment. For instance, what is she bringing on board? What did she bring on board in 2020, and what is she bringing on board this time around? Has there been any changes of what he did to help the NDC in 2020? And is there anything that we have to be watchful and make sure that this time around we handle the situation in such a way that she will not add more votes to the NDC? Listening to people talking soon after her appointment or a nomination as a running mate for the NDC, people are raising the issue of a female running mate, and I don't know whether it was a planned thing or the coincidence where the NDC ought to name this lady a day to the International Women's Day. And listening to the commentary run by some women advocates, people have started saying that, hey, the woman, Obano, and we must take a critical look at that. Yes, we must find out whether indeed it is going to motivate more women to campaign for her, to vote for her. If it is true, what can we also do to counter this advantage of picking a woman as a running mate? I've heard people in the academia, especially women. I was listening to Professor Kajipo and others who felt so proud of having a woman at that level. And also, we must also look at what she's bringing on board. Former Vice Chancellor of a university, a former Minister of Education, a former running mate, so she's bringing some form of experience into it. And that is what we have to be strategized and be having a way that we can campaign to convince the Ghanaians to understand that, yes, indeed, she was in the contest in 2020 and couldn't add much to it. But that doesn't mean that this time around she's not going to add anything to it. So what we, the MPP, are going to do is that we are still analyzing the situation. It is true, after 2020, we never heard much of her. She hardly come out to comment on national issues. And so her name, as a matter of fact, when you go to the hinterlands, the countryside, her name is not a household name. So that is one advantage we in the NPP have. If as I said, we can go around and be asking people whether even they have heard her name before. Many will tell that no. It means that her name is not a household name, but they have about 8 to 7 members to campaign, which of course they can take her around the country for the people to accept it. There's one thing that we in the NPP think that is not going to bother us much is whether at this age 72 may have the strength to go around.
In fact, she was born on the 22nd of November 1951. That means that 22nd November, a few days to the election, she'll be 73.
Exactly.
Yes.
So whether she'll be strong enough to going around the country to campaign, but I am being taken aback on the issue of age, because looking at what Dr. Bawumia also want to pick, the 3 front lines that I personally have saw that one of them would be the running mate, include the chief of staff, which of almost of the same age with the NDC's running mate. So we must be very careful.
You seem to be making some revelations that from where you sit as an NPP community, there are 3 front runners.
Yes.
But you only mentioned one. Who are the 2 other front runners?
We know the energy minister is a front runner in this vice president or running mate issue, and also I know of education minister, and the one who just passed, John Kumar, was also seen up there as one of those.
That makes it 4. That makes it.
I said 3. I mentioned 3 because John Kumar is late.
Ah, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So we have to be very careful when talking about age. But as we all know, it's not always the age. Somebody might be old but very strong. I was listening to His Excellency the President on the SONA presentation of SONA. When he was entering as president in 2016-17, we said, hey, this man, even those of us who are MPP were saying that will he be strong enough to carry us through the 8 years? But listening to him on his feet, on the last SONA, making presentation in Parliament, the energy that he contains at his age, which is close to 80 years now, and the energy he possesses. I think
he's 20 days from 80.
80, exactly. Yes. So age may not be the issue, but the person's health. You could be 45, you could be 50, and somebody who at age 80 may be stronger than you. So that is one thing we are also looking at as a party. For us, we've beaten them before. When I say them, it's the pair. That is the former president and
John and Jane.
John and Jane, we've beaten them before. We know the strategy. Looking at the vote that came from the region where she comes from, I don't think we have to be afraid. As I said, we are not going to underrate her performance and what she's bringing up, but at the same time, that is not going to put any fear in us.
Okay.
There's one thing that we also think that it will be of advantage to us. That is the NDC stronghold, that the voter region, we're also pushing strongly to have a running mate from the region. And that escaping them, we've heard and seen some comments coming from there that we think we can take advantage of it and make sure that this time, as is happening in 2020, our votes in the voter region went up. I'm talking about NPP's vote in the voter region. And this time around, I think with them losing the advantage of having a running mate, Honorable Doa Ajaho was losing his boots to be the running mate. Honorable
the former speaker.
The Honorable Fifi Korte was also losing a boot. The current Speaker of Parliament was also losing a boot. And doing that, we know the Votarians, the NDC voter region is not happy. So it is us to take advantage of the situation and see whether we can this time around increase our votes higher than what we did in 2020.
Okay.
So her choice is advantage to MPP.
Okay.
And we are going to work hard. It's the same thing. The MPP is going to win 2024 election anyway. So bringing her will not going to change anything.
Okay, so I'll come to you, Madam Gloria, because you are the female in the mix. But Ni is a member of the NDC. Ni, hold on. So you let me ask you a question.
The question is there. You're asking us about.
No,
about
maybe my
Professor.
presentation might have changed the way his question is going to be
I was
asked.
going to address him
I know.
straight because
I know.
I'm
No, I'm not
that-
the one asking you the question. So why are you going
The
to
reason-
The
the reason-
moderator is there. Kindly pay attention
The
to
reason
the
why
moderator and
I'm
listen
asking
to what
that is
you
because
ask.
I know he was coming for you.
For a fighter or
I'm even surprised that my good friend is going on and on about names that were not even ever considered for vice president. I mean, I think that John Mahama, our presidential candidate, has decided that his decision would be both scientific and informed and strategic. I think part of the reasoning behind his choice is also to do with the fact that if he were to select any of the persons who has openly declared that they are going to contest or they have aspirations for president in the ND, and I last week I made this point, no, 2 weeks ago, sorry, I made this point that the MPP have dealt with a transitional problem that we are yet to deal with.
When you say we, you mean the NDC?
NDC, yes. The MPP have effectively chosen a leader who is young at 60 and who, for the next, all intents and purposes, God's hand being on him, health-wise and everything, he's going to run again and again and again until he's president. Literally. You understand? So he will do the 2024. If he doesn't win, he will do 2028. If he doesn't win, he will do another. So because he's young. You understand? And the history of this Fourth Republic has favored candidates who have gone and gone and gone until the people decide that, okay, you've come twice. Okay. They say in Ghanaian traditional parlance, if you knock on the door 3 times, it's likely that it will be opened for you. So,
you mean third time lucky?
Third time lucky. So the MPP have handled what we are yet to handle by way of a transition. They knew there will have to be a leader post Nana Addo. They've got one. NDC is yet to do a post John Mahama transition. And that probably was part and parcel of whatever puzzle that John Mahama was seeking to solve. Because if you chose a vice president who had an openly declared ambition to be president, you could rock the boat a bit, because then anybody else who also has that ambition clearly will feel that you are giving that person an undue advantage. And when you are in opposition seeking to come into power, you need unity. You see, when you are in power, you have the positions to offer. So you have the ability to manage conflict in a different way. When you are in opposition, you need every single power block behind you. And of course, there are people that have declared or contested John Mahama previously. Name them: Dr. Gabra, Mr. Joe Alabi, Kwabena Dufour. He couldn't choose any of those.
And you're forgetting about the former mayor of Kumasi.
Yes, he couldn't. I mean, there are other people who have, chairman, own chairman, and others have all been speculated. Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, everyone whose name you have heard as potentially wanting to be vice president, who is young or who has ever contested, is a potential presidential candidate. And so I'm sure it played a very vital role for him moving and opting for somebody who has not openly declared a presidential ambition. Not to say that if you get into the office, you will not get people whispering into your ears that, why? If you have done it, if you become vice president, what prevents you from becoming president? You understand? And that can change. I mean, somebody may enter the office with no ambition, but officially and openly, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has not declared that she aspires to be president. She's very strong. If you looked at her on the campaign trail and all that, she is very, very strong. She did, when she was declared the last time, she did a whole national tour. And if you have ever been on the campaign trail and you are moving from Accra to Tamale by vehicle, or you are moving from this place to this place by vehicle, you know that it is not an easy, it's a very rigorous activity. And so if you don't have the capacity, you clearly cannot, aspire or intend or occupy that position. So I think that strategically, John Mahama has saved the NDC the issue of any potential cracks, because he's not given any of his perceived contenders who want to succeed him an undue advantage by naming any of them as vice presidential candidate. So everybody believes that, okay, then let's work together and win the election. After that, it's an open field. Would she be able to bring anything significantly new onto the ticket? I think she will be deployed differently from the last time. Part of the criticism that was leveled against her campaign previously was the way she was deployed and the late deployment and some of the places that she was deployed to and all that. I think this time around her handlers are going to do things differently. In this election, I believe even the MPP would admit that the momentum is with the NDC. It's our election to lose. I keep saying it. How is she going to navigate between the women vote, the educated class, the ordinary person on the street, her connections to the central region? Because central region remains a very important swing seat. We need to win it. The last time we won a majority of the seats and we lost the presidential. I keep having this discussion, that what is the NDC's pathway to victory? We need to necessarily win Greater Accra and win it massively. Has that been done before? Not on a scale that would, because you see, the northern region, well, the polls say that it is looking good for the NDC, but I still sleep with my eye open, especially for the five northern region, especially with the person of Dr. Bawumia and his impact, especially in the northern region.
Is it true that your vice presidential candidate has roots from the northern region?
I have no knowledge of that.
Do you recall her maiden name before she got married?
No.
You don't?
I have to ask my very good friend, her son. I have absolutely no idea of her maiden name.
I'm reliably informed that she has roots from the northern region.
Well, that could be. And I hope that she's able to tap into that. But traditionally, I know that she was used more in Cape Coast, that's the central region. And I'm hoping that she can cut across academia, draw us some new votes especially, and give us some, because the youth vote is also very, very important. It's how she's deployed. For me, how her handlers are going to deploy her to tap into whatever constituencies that they believe she can bring on board is what it is that I hope we can be able to get as an advantage in terms of her deployment or in terms of her brand coming into the election. Of course, the fact that she potentially will be the first vice president who is a woman is also significant. It's a record-breaking feat. And I hope that would resonate amongst the educated elite, including Madame Gloria, and maybe draw her vote.
So we are told that she actually married an Ashanti man by name Opoku-Agyeman.
Okay.
And she was really Akurugu.
Okay.
That's her name.
Okay.
She hails from the northern region, but married an Ashanti who she's been divorced to for the past 20 years. So
it's probably Upper East.
Upper East. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean the northern region.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
we never heard that bit in the 2020.
Yes. So she's originally a Northerner.
Oh, okay.
But married an Ashanti called Opoku-Agyeman, and maintained the name Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman,
of course, because
and never changed it till date. So it is to be established that
she's still married to the Opoku-Agyeman.
No, they've been divorced for 20 years now. So it's been, but she maintained the use of the name. Opoku-Agyeman.
But that is good. I mean, I hope that she will be able to draw in, because that has never been a point that has been hammered in, even in the 2020 election. I mean, it's news for me now. But I'm hoping and praying that Central Region Western region, and to some extent Greater Accra would be primarily her focus, and then the educational institutions as well, where she can tap into her colleague professionals and see how she can bring out the votes in respect of that. I'm hoping that we would be able to deploy her in a way that allows the the presidential candidate to be able to also draw in his own strengths, you understand? Because the presidential candidate himself also needs to focus especially on my concern is the northern regions. If we are able to deal with whatever threats Dr. Bawumia brings to us in the northern regions, I think that I'll sleep better. But so far, our biggest challenge, I think, is the northern regions, because you see how you have a situation where, yes, Dr. Bawumia is a Muslim, he's from the north, John Mahama is from the north. Traditionally, if you look at the past elections, nobody has been able to sweep Greater Accra in a massive win, you understand? Volta has been broken into two, basically, with the creation of the additional regions. And so, Ashanti, and I keep saying, Ashanti alone, if the MPP is able to even get an 80 to 85% turnout, it's a problem for the NDC when it comes to having to mop up our votes in the other regions. So, it's looking good for us as the NDC in this election. I think momentum is on our side. The economic challenges and other factors clearly make this government unpopular. But unpopularity alone cannot win you an election. You have to also be strategic. And so the announcement is good. It's early. It's built a certain momentum for us in terms of dominating the news cycle this week. I hope that we are able to maintain it. Now the eyes are on, the pressure is on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to also name his his vice presidential candidate. He also have to look at the equation, look at the balance, make an informed decision, and then I think the race gets onto the. I think that her early deployment, strategically would be the key to an effective use of her for the campaign. If we don't deploy her well, she will probably be redundant in terms of the brand impact.
You don't specify on what you mean by. Oh, sorry, my mic is off. Sorry. So you don't specify on what you mean by deploying well. What do you mean by deploying well?
So you deploy her to her strengths. You understand? Where is she most impactful? She hails more from she's more identified with the central region than anything else. So I expect you to put her in the markets, put her in the educational institutions, put her in the forefront of women's initiatives. Let her want to announce policies on the rights of women, and put her in places and deploy her on matters and issues that go to her strength. You understand? She's not an economist. So if you place her on issues of the economy, I think you are not playing her to her strength. But if you play her to issues of education, issues of gender, issues that make it easier for her to communicate what it is that the new NDC government will do, I think you would be deploying her strategically and effectively. For me, that is also important. It's not just putting her around and sending her around. No. Make sure that wherever she's sent to, she's able to maximize our votes from that place. And for me, that is important.
Okay, so let me come to Madam Gloria Ofori-Boadu to share your thoughts on this. But just before you do that,
I'll prefer you call me Lawyer Gloria Ofori-Boadu.
Lawyer? Yes. Okay, yes, that's fine. I'll do that.
Thank you.
I have how many lawyers here today? 3. You are not a lawyer yet. Okay, so yes, Madam Lawyer, I agree. Lawyer Gloria Ofori-Boadu. Okay, so Samuel Ofosuba says that the candidature of John and Jane isn't a fearful one, but hearing Dr. Tony Edu, MPP needs to be careful. They are very cunning to win through Rasmata's games. And so that is a comment by Samuel Ofosuba. And then Ralph L says that if the fact about Jane is true, then it means the NDC has 2 Northerners on their ticket. And that is because of the argument that I'm just making, that she's originally a Northerner, and then she married an Ashanti and maintained the name and all that. Okay, madam.
Yes,
sorry, lawyer.
Just for information and education, the northern region used to be the northern part of Ghana, 3 different regions, but now it's 5. And so we have Upper East, and the name Akurugu is definitely from Upper East.
Upper East region.
It's a Frafra name.
Okay.
Yes, so the Upper East. So if the presidential is from the Savannah region, then she has roots in the Upper East. So it's two different regions. Well, that's just for information. I was born in Tamale, so I'm fiercely loyal to my northern birthplace. Now, when it comes to vice presidential candidate choice, it's usually based on electoral clout, governance and management capabilities, party credentials, then the candidate complementarity, then financial or in-kind contribution, in the form of some form of in-kind contribution, the form of skills, experience, expertise, qualification. And I guess that is what was looked at in the selection of a candidate for the NDC. Now, when it comes to the letter from Fifi Avikwete, that's the General Secretary, on March 7th, it looked at an additional aspect, the integrity, dedication, and vision for a better Ghana that the Professor Jane has. And I was interested when I saw integrity and vision, and I was like, wow, that is becoming, well, that has always been a sine qua non. So they are looking at it now, and I guess it's very important because even in our electoral laws, we keep talking of integrity. Now, listening to my learned friend, I've also realized that in addition to integrity, there's also the safety and security for the presidential candidate. So I guess they are selecting the lady because she's less, viewed as ambitious or treacherous. So I guess that is their, But it's interesting. I also think that they've also realized the power of continuity when it comes to the selection of a candidate. Because the NDC has a checkered history of changing vice presidential candidates. Remember, the late President Rawlings had, Aka from the United CPP group. That was merged with them, or that allied themselves to the NDC. That was in 92. Then 96, I think there was a problem.
He went to Professor Mills because a car crossed carpet and went to contest with Kufuor.
The Great Alliance.
Yes.
Then in 2000, it was too late, right? 96, Aka.
So 2000, the Mills now will run, but will go with Martin Amidu.
So Mills was only a vice presidential candidate prior to 2001.
Once, yes, 96.
And then after that, he also came with
Martin Amidu. Then after Martin Amidu in 2004, he came to Mumuni. And then 2008, he came with John Mahama.
It's been too checkered.
And then John Mahama comes to become president. He comes to become president after Mills. And then he went with Emisata. He actually chose Emisata in 2012, and then went with Emisata in 2012, but repeated him in 2016.
They've had too much of a checkered history, the NDC party, when it comes to vice presidential candidates. So I guess they've taken a cue from the Akufo-Addo Bawumia, legacy, which has been ongoing for 16 years. And so it will also, I guess it will also be in their favor to have some continuity when it comes to choosing the running.
But looking at the two leading contenders in the election 2024, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and John Mahama, both of them were selected as vice presidential candidates by the two major political parties the same year. All of them were selected as vice presidential candidates in 2008. John Mahama will go ahead to become vice president because Atta Mills won the 2008 election. But Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and his presidential candidate did not win. But over the period, John Mahama will go on to become president, but will lose the election. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will now win the election with Mr. Kufuor in 2016 and become vice president. Now, the two of them, having been elected to the vice presidential role back then in 2008, have all now risen to become presidential candidates at the forefront of their parties. Shouldn't they take a cue from how both of them came to the political space in 2008 by choosing who becomes their partners, because there's potential that their partners will eventually become presidential candidates, just like they have become presidential candidates following the choices that were made by their substantive presidential candidates back then in 2008. This question, I think Ni should have answered it. This question, I think
but
I believe
yes.
yes.
In the Ni's presentation, you could hear clearly that they wanted to avoid that, thinking that being a party in opposition, picking somebody per the history of how they pick their presidential candidate may affect them in the terms of a friction among those who want to succeed former President Mahama. So
because you see, I've been saying it here that our biggest challenge is how we are going to manage a post John Mahama transition, because it's going to be an open one and for all. If today, and that's why I said that the FPP really don't have one of the biggest problems any political party faces is post incumbent transitions. It comes with so many issues, and then themselves will admit the incumbent president will have to behave as if he doesn't have a choice in the matter, even though everybody knows he will have a preference. The party, everybody else will accuse him of favoring one person other than so they have been. It's been a traumatic experience. Look at everything that has happened, including Kennedy, Japan, and all that. But at the end of the day, they've settled on somebody. That process, if you don't manage it well, in our situation, actually led to breakaway parties from Dr. Beda Samoa to Nana Kunedu Adjuma Rawlings to Mills. We have suffered, in fact, 3 or 4
I think it started from Reform. The Reform Party.
So we've suffered for every time there's been a post-incumbent transition, we literally have suffered a breakaway party. So it is something that we have to be very careful of, and that is why I think that President John Mahama, in selecting his vice presidential candidates, is trying to maintain the unity that he has been able to achieve at the moment, so that the focus is on winning power. But our problem will be after we have won power, then you will, because immediately we win power, the next cycle begins. If God willing, if the
also when former President Mahama in a situation where he may not be able to go for
he can't go for a second. So the point is that
if
the day he is declared the winner, that is when everybody that's where everybody else is.
He is not going to be declared winner.
Oh well, that's why we are all not God. So let's the same way you are sitting there wishing that Vice President Bawumia would be declared the winner, we are also wishing and praying that President Mahama will be declared the winner. But I'm saying that post the declaration, that is when. So you don't have that. You will not have that issue, because you actually have a candidate who can even decide to start campaigning the very next day he loses.
So in the event that Mr. Mahama loses the 2024 elections,
I think that
would
that
he be
would,
for 2000?
I doubt whether. I think there will be very little appetite in the party for. He himself will then have to do a self retrospection. I mean, you've been at it 3 times, and remember that will mean that, and you know, incumbents in our dispensation rarely lose in terms of, except, and I always say that John Mahama's presidency was actually the second term of President Mills. If you want to look at it critically, all the political parties have enjoyed the 8-8. So if Dr. Bawumia were to win the presidency, he would do probably and more likely do a full 8-year term. What would be the justification? How would we not want a new leader who would at least be given an opportunity to run against the incumbent? He will lose probably, but at least then will be preparing himself for the next election. It will be unconscionable, in my opinion, for President Mahama, God forbid, should he lose, decide that he wants to run again. Why?
Okay, so when it comes to Mr. Jantua, Mr. Jantua has been quiet on this matter.
So that's how presidents actually are.
We want to hear you. We want to hear you quickly.
The next
CPP candidate. The CPP candidate. We are preparing vigorously to come and launch our campaign.
Nick Pakpo won't stop this thing.
Mr. Jantua,
it's news. Me, I don't know.
Please, afterwards you could do a check for me.
So Mr. Jantua, as I come to you to make your
operative word quickly. What do you mean by quickly?
No, I mean, I was coming to you as quickly as I can. But let me just read these 2 messages, and then I'll come to you to make your substantive argument on this matter. So, Abubakari Yakubu says that knowing my boss, lawyer Nick Pakpo, with his vim and loud about things that he has trust in. But this running mate issue in NDC didn't go well with him. My greetings to all panelists, including my brother, the host. Okay, so thank you for being my brother. But I think what Yakubu is trying to say is that your vim is not out when it comes to this candidate. It appears to him that you had a different preference. Not at all. Okay, all right. And then there's Baba who says that the John Jane ticket has nothing good to offer Ghanaians and the NDC itself. It is an old wine in new bottle. Their combination is a simple Duka Daya combination. Duka Daya combination. Okay, so that's Baba Chairman's message. Miss Jatwa. Professor J. Nana Opoku Achman. What did I even say? The other name.
What did you say? Well, let's start by congratulating her for being able to win the ticket for running mate with President John Mahama. But let me take it from a bit where Ni left off. Is it a chicken and egg situation where the NDC is concerned? Because if it so happened that they didn't choose President Mahama as their running mate and they chose somebody else, they won't be faced with the challenge of taking a running mate, and that running mate now looking to also do 2028. So if for nothing at all, they've taken a situation where it's put a full stop on their running mate. After 2024, what you would hear is that he's got to go with President Mahama. If President Mahama does win, he's got to go with him. Let's start things afresh. The other side of the coin is that if they do win 2024, then it means the politicking for 2028 will start from 2024, 2025. And if there are individuals who are eyeing that position and are also given positions in government, then you will see a huge tussle. However, let's not make the mistake. She was part and parcel of the team that halved the MPP's majority from 1 million to 500.
500,000.
500,000. This election is not going to be like the 2020 election. This election is going to be fought on different issues, left, right, center. The other challenge for the MPP is that if the president does not sign this LGBTQ+, Ghanaians would throw whatever it is, the economy, whatever it is aside. They'll put it aside and vote them out on LGBTQI if he doesn't sign. So it should be something that the MPP look at very well. However, the president can say, I won't sign because I finished my term, my 8-year term. Let those who are coming take that responsibility, but it can affect them. Now, in terms of looking at her as an individual, we don't know what she's coming with this time around. The last time around, I didn't see her to have the gravitas in terms of pushing the agenda for the NDC. It might change now. And as we have seen in this country, a lot of our presidents, and let's put the military ones aside, a lot of our civilian presidents have been in the battle for a long time. They have tried 3-4 times over before they won. So, Nana Jane, do we know her? Is she a novice? Is she somebody we don't know? Is she somebody who would attract the women's vote? Are women attached to her? How do they see her? Do they see her more as a motherly figure or a political animal? There are so many things that she herself would have to start aligning her demeanor. For those who don't know her well, and those who know her, and those who feel she'll be a good vice president, to say she's somebody we can vote for. Now, where does she concentrate herself in? And Nee was saying that we have to give her those areas that she's good in. No. She is not. I repeat, she is not and cannot be a mate. She cannot be a mate. It's a team. She and President Mahama are a team. Whatever happens, is part and parcel of. Whatever decisions are taken, she's part and parcel of. So this is not a mate issue. So she should be able to have a good understanding of the different sectors. Good understanding, not particular areas. That one, I don't think would help her. In terms of her concentration, yeah, the central region is a swing region. And yeah, it's not only the central region you should look at the whole southern border. Because you see, the fight is going to be for President Mahama, is going to be with Vice President Mahama in the north. That's the fight. In the south, in Ashanti, MPP stronghold, there is an addition there that could help the NDC gain more than they've gained before. And that addition is Alan Kyerematen's movement. If Alan Kyerematen's movement can hit chunks into the MPP stronghold in Ashanti, and the NDC can also hit in there, get over 1 million votes, then you know the battle is going to be difficult for the NPP. And so, looking at it, I believe if the running mate that has been chosen, Nana Jane, if she can prove an understanding of the challenges that we're going through, if she can show that there are solutions that would align Ghanaians to her, then maybe she'll be very effective. But we should know, Wilberforce, the situation of today is not the situation of 2020. The situation of 2020 was COVID and all those other things. The situation of today is that the country is broke. The country is broke. There are no jobs for the youth. Our public sector institutions are not working the way they should be working. Huge challenge. And so, I would congratulate her. I'll congratulate the NDC in being able to choose a running mate. And let's see where the cookie crumbles. Because when you listen to Ghanaians today, everybody seems to be fed up of where the country is. Will that be a prerequisite for people to vote for NDC? We don't know at this point. So let's see where we head.
We see how it goes, madam. Why do I keep saying?
Don't worry, go ahead.
Cancel. So
no, just go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Feel comfortable.
So you are a female, and we are wrapping up the conversation on this. The next phase is to talk about the Electoral Commission and all that. But you are a female, and do you think that the NDC choosing a female directly brings any magic to the campaign of the party?
I would just say that, unfortunately, from my experience, because of the way women have been socialized to believe that a man somewhere would take care of them. Women hardly vote for other women. It takes a lot of sensitization. They hardly vote for other women. And it's all because of that perception that men are the breadwinners, and they will, well, you know that that's not always the truth. The statistics show otherwise. But there's that perception that men are the breadwinners, and so public positions of leadership should be for men. So women, a majority of them tend to be attracted to a male figure being in leadership. Oh, you take care of us, you provide for us. And sometimes they may even resent another woman for trying to take that position. It's, a number of researchers have reported on that. And
You're a woman.
And I've also found out.
Why is that?
I'm giving it's sociologists. It's the way we are socialized.
Really?
Even though the statistics indicate that a number of households, a sizable number of households are headed by females due to circumstances or death of spouse, or they never married, or so on the contrary, it's not like that, but it's that perception. So her ability to win the female vote or constituency is not just automatic. She has to work at it. That's all I'll say.
Should this choice of the NDC running mate inform the choices that NPP itself will make? Should NPP also go for a woman?
Well, for me, I don't think if Dr. Bawumia go for a woman, it's because the NDC has also chosen the woman. No, because we have settled on that. Yes, our running mate must come from a Ashanti region. There are some front runners that she's considering, and that involves a woman.
Have you settled? Is that true?
At the front line.
No, have you settled that the vice president to come from Ashanti region?
That one, I'm highly
I think
convinced.
the NPP has
that one, I'm highly convinced.
Yes.
That yes, we are picking from Ashanti region.
I think I've heard them publicly say, several people publicly say that.
And
that is not fair.
Why do you say so?
They're trying to tell me that they are only capable people in Ashanti region to be vice president.
No,
that
that's
is
what they are saying.
So what are they saying?
What they are saying is that their presidential candidates
Mr.
is from the
Jantua,
north.
you have just said something that I want to rebut.
So they must choose somebody from the south.
From the south. And it's only Ashanti region that's in the south.
No, so from the south, they are also looking at somebody who is from their stronghold.
Exactly. So not necessarily Ashanti region.
They are political decisions.
Instead of saying Ashanti region,
their stronghold is Ashanti region.
It's Ashanti.
It's Ashanti region.
It's not Ashanti region.
I still maintain that it's unfair. If they said Anakan, that's a different ballgame.
Let me let Ayepe finish.
So yes, looking at those that I am of the view that one of them will be picked. There's a woman. So if at the end of the woman is picked, it's not because the NDC have gone for a woman, but because we're considering a number of people, including a woman. So that might be the case. Honorable Mr. Jantua mentioned the Alan Afrafanto movement in the Ashanti region, and the fact that when they make an impact, it's going to affect our vote in the Ashanti region. Yes, but the fact is this: it's not only going to affect the MPP alone, but also strongly the NDC. Because any MPP person in the Ashanti region who may, one reason or the other, may want to vote against the MPP may not vote for the NDC because of the presence of the Afrafanto movement in the Ashanti region. Definitely, that person rather is going to vote for the Afrafanto instead of the NDC. So, 600,000 votes the NDC had in 2020 is going to be seriously affected by the Afrafanto movement. So, the NDC who are motivating and pushing the Afrafanto to be strong in the Ashanti region are rather fighting against their own 600,000 votes they had.
It won't affect you. It won't affect your vote in Ashanti.
I haven't said that.
It won't affect it.
I haven't said that.
Stop looking at the 600. Look at your own.
I haven't said that.
Look at your own.
If you listen to me carefully, I said the fact that is going to affect our vote, the NDC must also think that anybody, any MPP person in the Ashanti region who one reason or the other may want to vote against MPP this time around, if not because they're the Afrafanto movement, but have voted for the NDC. But this time around, they are going to vote for the Afrafanto movement. So it's going to affect even the 600 vote that they had in 2020. So they shouldn't think that we are the only party that's going to suffer in the Ashanti region because of the presence of the butterfly movement. But all the same,
Okay.
talking is still going on, and I think with time the movement will join NPP to become a front strong.
Okay.
Talking of
Backdoor conversations. Yes,
yeah,
Chancellor.
talking of world banks for political parties, you know, since independence, Ghanaians have voted on ethnic lines. Let's not be, and I guess it happens in most parts of the world. People vote on interest and ethnic lines. So I've always wondered why.
So
the
how did
NDC has
Nkrumah win?
never-
How did Nkrumah win 3 elections in
I've
56?
always wondered.
It wasn't on ethnic
please,
grounds.
we can also go into that.
It wasn't on ethnic
Nkrumah
grounds.
was quite strategic, and we can go into that. You know, I've always wondered why the NDC has not picked a running candidate or a candidate from the Volta region. I've always wondered because President Rawlings picked Akar from the Central region in '92. Then he picked in '96 Professor Mills from the Central region. Then he picked Martin Amidu
Who was a Northerner.
from
You want-
one of
you
the
want me
deputies,
to- you want me to
I
give you
think,
a-
But there was a Central
want me to give
Regional
you a-
presidential candidate. Hold on.
picked,
I'll let you
in
respond.
2004 he picked
Mumuni.
Mohammed Mumuni.
Yes.
And then 2008 picked John Mahama. Then
Another not, no?
then Central Region John picked 2012 was still John, right? Then he picked
Central Region, Misata. from
Yes.
Central
Emisata.
and then
then-
Central and Upper East.
So
for
the
Jane.
so in
I've
other
always
words,
wondered why.
so in other words, the NDC's presidential and vice presidential candidates has
Have
been a
never had a
rotation
Volta
between
region
the north
candidate.
and the central.
Even
Consistently.
even
That
though
is-
Volta
apart from
region
Jerry
votes
Rawlings,
That is
over
why
90%
the
for the
voter,
NDC.
yes, that is why the voter region this round came in strongly. That whether you like it or not, the running mate should come from
This
voter
guy is
region.
imaginary.
Then they have disappointed them strongly. And
No, I've
and,
always wondered.
and
No, no,
we,
no,
the
no,
MPP,
this
is
your coming
going
in
to
was
take
is imaginary.
advantage of that disappointing situation that disappointed the NDC, the voter region. That voters are so disappointed to the fact that
Since
they
1992.
have never considered
but the
them
point
to
is
be the
that
vice
are you paying?
presidential candidate.
The point is that
Past 32
the point is
years,
that
right?
apart from Jerry
92
Rawlings,
is-
who is from the
92
central region,
years.
as
No,
far as-
they're running from the voter region.
vote from the voter region.
Exactly.
The NDC has never chosen any candidate from the voter region,
At
be
all.
it presidential or
Or
but
the
the
vice
statistics also shows that the voter region have always voted for the
Over
NDC.
90%.
But they are, you see,
Yes.
per
That's so
the
unfair.
But
fact that
no,
the fact that
it's not- it's not correct.
they have not been picking their
It's not
vice
correct.
candidate, it's reducing their vote in the voter region season by season. So this one is going to affect, and it's not fair. They are not giving them fair treatment
they
at all.
haven't.
They've been
Stop dreaming.
voting
Stop
for them
dreaming.
all
Stop
the
dreaming.
time.
Stop dreaming.
And
Okay.
they think that
You
after
don't-
that
you
is
don't-
our well bank.
no,
Whether we
listen,
give them a
let
choice
me-
or not, we are
let
going
me-
to
let
do
me-
it.
Jantu's
And
man
it is
is
not a matter of not picking candidate from there alone. When they are always in power, they don't give them the necessary development that they are supposed to
What are
have.
you talking about?
Look at all the major development that has gone
What
on
have
in
you even
Volta
done for
region. It's
Ashanti
done
region?
by
What
Kufuor
have you-
and
what-
the
what-
current
who told you?
government.
Okay.
So
Hold on.
That road
they are
network
highly
in the Volta-
disappointed.
For speaking as a Voltarian.
No, I'm not a Voltarian. I'm telling you that the Voltarians are disappointed in the
His
end.
constituency is very close to the voter region.
No, apart from that, 40% of my constituents are others.
Yes, so
40%.
so
They are very.
until you hold
The
you hold the
population-wise,
record.
they are very strong
The
in my
NPP
country.
holds the record as being the only party in power who is able to deny 3 strongholds of a political party and the right to vote in the particular election, so that you could manipulate an election to win. It's a record you shouldn't even
Hey,
be talking
which
about.
allegations
It's not Hohoy.
This.
Do you think they would have won Hohoy without Sal?
The year
Do
you
you
are
believe
talking
that
about,
Amewu
we
would
won
have
the
won
election
Hohoy
by
without Sal?
500,000
Come on,
vote
give me a
difference.
break.
We won by
Listen,
500,000
listen.
vote difference. So
But,
that vote in the Huawei
Rollins-
and then
Rollins- see.
Lolovi and so
Okay, hold
it
on.
is even like, you see, you shouldn't forget the fact that we won 2020 election by a difference of 500,000 votes. Put those constituencies that he's talking about, put them together, even less than
You have-
50,000.
you have-
So
have-
it is not
you have
because
a-
of
you have
that
a
we
natural-
won the
you
election,
have
because
an
the difference was
advantage.
500,000.
I
Look,
think he
the
says he
NPP
won the
listen.
Hohoy
You want the
constituency.
Hohoy constituency
The
because of
parliamentary.
the Sal issue.
He's not talking
Oh,
about
please.
constituency, he's talking about
I'm talking about constituency. I'm not talking about the
the
region.
Okay,
parliamentary
but we
or
need
the
to do.
presidential elections. that you are
We
referring
need
to.
we need some scientific analysis on this argument. That
Oh,
you are
go ahead,
raising.
go ahead look
Whether
at it.
or not the
They won't
NPP
get
would
that
have
opportunity
lost the
again this
Hohoy.
time round. The
Okay.
point is, it has not happened before. That the day before, the EC would deliberately say that 3 places should not vote.
I don't
happen.
see the connection with what you are talking about.
I'm talking about
the discussion on the.
No, I'm talking about how you raised the issue.
We are talking about why Votarians vote, the NDC vote in Volta region is being dropped because
that was not the discussion.
As a main factor in selection of presidential.
No, that was not what she said. She said she talks about the presidential candidates not coming from the Volta region post Rawlings.
Exactly.
And I'm saying that if you look also when we are in power, whenever we have not selected a presidential or vice presidential candidate from the Volta region, we have ensured when we are in power that either in the party itself or in parliament or in other the chairman of the council of state, there are certain strategic positions that have gone to the Volta region, and it is important. Look at the history. Where we have not selected the presidential candidate, you look at some of the key positions either in the party, in parliament, or at the council of state, you realize that it goes to the Volta region, and there's always that regional balance. President Rawlings, for example, was the personality that cut across in a certain way because he was identified as someone who is able to, because he was basically a national figure. Rawlings never had this penchant for deciding he worked with literally everybody from every facet of the society.
The way he entered
he not only that, but Rawlings was unlike the traditional politicians. Rawlings was not a traditional politician. So if you looked at the First Republic, the Second Republic, the Third Republic, do a Republican history, he was not a typical politician. And so his ability and all his cabinet and everybody, you will notice, was a mixture of almost everything you could find within Ghana. Unlike because the traditional political parties always have held allegiances to particular regions. I've always made the analysis here that if MPP is able to turn out 90% or 85% of Ashanti and Eastern region, no other party can win an election in this country. It just so happens that by our natural mix and all that, we keep moving. And so even for the Ashanti region, you have a lot of migrant movement and other regions. So it is possible. It's made our natural geographical movement and everything has made it sad that you have to be national in nature to be able to win an outright majority in our election. And it's always factored or influenced by various things, the economy, particular issues. For example, in respect of the MPP's victory in the year 2000, free SHS was such a massive 2016. Free SHS was such a massive issue in this country because it hit at the heart of a lot of parents when it comes to the issue of cost. 2020, they benefited from it, but in this particular era, the economy is at the heart of the election. Things are not going well, and they know it.
But it's getting better.
What is getting better? The dollar is getting worse. What is getting better? And I'm hoping that you invite Mr. I'm hoping that you invite him when we start discussing
today we are talking about 23%
within because I don't know what island. I don't know what island some of them live in when it comes to the economy in this country.
No,
okay, hold on.
No, are you not in this country? Are you not aware? No, are you not aware that the economic indicators are showing clearly that things are getting better? And
drugs. You are not in this country. Do you know the cost of drugs?
The cost of drugs is
do you know the cost of people who are not living?
Okay, and our children as well. And I can tell you that cost of drugs, go to the pharmaceutical shop, it's dropping, it's coming down. Inflation is dropping.
What? Please,
inflation is dropping.
Open your phone lines and let's ask persons who are on diabetes, who are on blood pressure medication.
Every Ghanaian will tell you that yes, things it's not actually.
What did you inherit by way of dollar?
The fact that
you inherited a city to dollar exchange of 4.5.
So when both
at the rate at which the dollar is going up has reduced as compared to the time. Yes, the rate has gone down. Like at the point in time, at the point in time when we get up,
is bankrupt. You are not able to pay your external debt.
Look, it's yours in your turn. In your turn at 2014, same thing happened. They have to hand over the economy To the IMF. To the IMF.
Who's
Hold on. Hold on. Mr. Ayipe, please hold on. So if both of you talk, nobody is able to hear.
No, I said that we will shift into the economy proper.
We are not talking about the economic issues today.
And one day you can invite the two of us to come and sit down.
Yes, we'll do that.
Analyze the economy and now.
Mr. Janswa,
things are even getting better.
I know you have an intervention.
Are there four of us?
Yes, Mr. Ayipe. Mr. Janswa has an intervention on the discussion we're having. Before we transition to the last topic, we are talking about the EC and its activities ahead of election 2024. Mr. Janswa.
You take a loan for 200 million to renovate a sports stadium, 200 million to do a big hole, 120 million to do a Japan.
All Africa.
Wait.
All Africa.
That's what I'm talking about. And you tell me that. You tell me that the economy is not stranded. Fine, but Wilberforce, shouldn't we stop this ethnic choosing of our running mates?
Constitutional provision. We have to have regional balance.
Yes, let's go into the Constitution. Because Vice President Bawumia has made it see clearly that we don't need a vice president.
I like that. I like that one.
We don't need a vice president.
Right.
We don't need a vice president because the vice president cannot take decisions.
I don't think that the MPP's presidential candidate has said that.
What did he tell us? What did he tell us? He said he's a running mate.
Yes,
his decisions are not taken by the driver.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, please let me finish. Let me finish.
No, you can't be.
Let me finish, la. Let me finish.
I should allow you to just
let me finish.
The point
before we come to
who is the economy in a trotro bus? Who's the economy?
So it is important.
Isn't he the mate?
Yes, but it is important that we put into context everything that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has said. Because if we put it out of context,
what did he say, la?
Then there'll be a challenge.
What did he say about the mate issue?
Yeah, so he has said that as vice president, he is the driver's mate, and that he is not the one directly responsible for making decisions. He supports his main driver, who is the president, to take decisions.
And his presentation,
let him give it. Please let Wilberforce give it.
So what we have also seen is that in the vice president's presentation that he made, he takes a chunk of the period. In fact, he spoke for a little over 2 hours. He used about an hour and a half talking about the record of the New Patriotic Party government, which he is a part of as the vice president, what it has done, what it has achieved, and then uses another 67 paragraphs out of the 173 paragraphs to talk about what his personal vision is if you make him the substantive president, other than serving in the capacity as vice president as we speak today. So let's just put it in the context. He says that I am very much a part of the government, but I was not the final decision maker because there is an executive president. In fact, the president himself, when he spoke at the State of the Nation address, clarified this position and says that he is the executive president and all power is vested in him. And so he is fully responsible for everything that his government has done with the support of all the people who helped him to administer the country, including the vice president.
They are all part and parcel of the Kwagwagra. They are all part and parcel of it. If they took decisions together, the president cannot only say that he's the one, yes, he's in charge, but they are all part and parcel if they took decisions with him. The vice president is the only person who can walk into the president's office without an appointment. And he's telling us what? That bit he tells us that he couldn't take decisions. He should tell that to the Marines. He can go and tell the president, look, this e-levy that you're talking about, A, B, C, D, E, will not work.
But it doesn't.
Wait, please, let me.
The vice president.
When you are married to a woman, you the husband, you are expected.
You are an idea. It's too confusion. You know that you can just come to the president and tell the president that go and do A, B, C, D. And because you're a vice president, the president will just get up and go.
Why? You see, what I'm saying is hitting him.
It's true that when president takes decision, it binds. It binds so that it takes decision with. But that doesn't mean that whenever the vice president go to
Honorable, please. When you were talking, I was quiet.
But Mr. Johnson, all that I wanted to say is that you should expect that if you say something that you think is hitting him, he would respond.
Why should he respond?
Because
he should wait and let me finish.
Okay.
He shouldn't heckle me.
All right.
He should wait and let me finish.
Very well.
Please wrap up on
Very
the,
well, but I think you give me time to rebut.
So you've already rebutted.
No,
by heckling me.
Mr. Johnson, please go ahead and let's wrap up so I can go to the next topic.
I am saying that it is a constitutional requirement. Is it helping us? There are others who can be much more capable in that position instead of going ethnic. So we should look at it again.
Okay.
We should look at it again.
Okay, so I think the point is clear that Mr. Joshua thinks that the ethnic considerations in choosing a running mate is really not the way to go. I give you some 2 minutes to respond quickly, and then we can move on to the next issue.
What is he responding? On what I just said or something?
No, he has a position
even in Parliament, in Cabinet, when an issue is put on the table for discussion, we all discuss it, and then at the end of the day, a decision is made. For Cabinet, the decision could be a veto from the President, but it binds all of us. That does not mean that if the Vice President sits in Cabinet and a motion or a decision is put on the table for discussion, for consideration, and after discussions and listening to everybody, the President comes up with a veto to decide what should be done. The Vice President can just go to the President and say that, no, for this one, put it here, don't put it
Why
here.
not?
No.
Why not?
It is not like that. Maybe you have not been there.
The Vice President cannot sit with the President and
that
say,
is why,
Mr. President, this veto that you made,
we have
ABCDE,
the Lawrence's government, we had the Kufuor's government, we had the Professor Mills's government, we had Mohammed's government, and today we are having the Kufuor's government. The buck stops at the President. The Vice President can propose, the Vice President can suggest, but the buck stop at the President.
As we did in 79,
let's go
away with it.
That is why when Bawumia was talking, he did not run away from the decisions of the President because he sits in a meeting for such decisions to be made, so it binds him. He didn't run away from that. But he went ahead to say that as much as I assisted the current President to take decisions, especially on the economy, I also have my own ideas, the way I want the economy to be run if I've made the driver. This simple analogy should be accepted by all, and we know. I've been a member of Parliament. On several occasions, a report has come from Cabinet to Parliament and been referred to the chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee, of which I was. On several occasions, I've gone to the majority and said, leader, for this thing, I don't think we can defend it at a committee level, let alone the preliminary. Some have returned to Cabinet for those issues that we want to be removed or correct or to be amended and brought back to the committee for it to be considered. Some that the majority that would say that try and push this through. This can't go back. When we go and take decision, though for me personally, I was thinking as a chairman of the committee, A and B and C should be done. I'll give a typical example. There was this agreement that came into the committee, $250 million to construct bridge on the how do you call it? Afam Plains. You see that bridge between the Kwahu and Afam Plains on the lake, the road, the River Volta. When the agreement was brought, I said, look at the traffic congestion in our cities, Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi, Cape Coast. I would view that 250 million, if we have opportunity to access that loan, could be used to purchase intra-city buses for Metro Mass and Ayalolo to ease traffic congestion in our cities, instead of building the bridge on the Volta Lake.
To connect the Afram Plains with the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I went to the majority leader suggesting that the money rather should be used, and he educated me by telling me where the money is coming from and where those who are bringing the money want to support the agri sector and how they think that building that bridge will increase the transfer or cutting of goods, foodstuff from Afam Plains and beyond to the southern part of this country. So there's no room for changing the usage of the money from building a bridge to importation of intra-city buses to support and reduce traffic congestion in this country. When at the end of the day the bridge is built, I can say that yes, I was not in support of the building of the bridge, but the decision to build the bridge binds me as a chairman of a committee.
It wasn't because your idea wasn't taken. It's because of where the money came from.
Exactly. So the
couldn't do anything about it.
So the vice president can also go to president and say that I want A, B, C, D to be done, and it will help us. But the president is the head of government, and he has been voted for to lead the country. If he says that this is the way I think we should go, the vice president has no option than
the
to go with his
decision is superior.
So he's telling us, yes, that is
Yes.
why the vice president is telling us that when I become the master sitting in front of the steering, I'll also have my plans. And this time around, I'm not going to suggest to somebody how it should be done,
Okay.
but I will take a decision.
So the discussions was really about the choice of Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman as running mate. It has gone round with several issues coming into the space. But there's someone who says that the NDC's perennial presidential candidate and Jane will not be recognized after losing in the 2024 elections as Kwame Nkrumah's CPP. Even not a single representative is in the Legislative Assembly. The result was due to rhetoric, propaganda, and promised building castles in the air. So it is with the NDC's communicators. They should let us know the facts on the ground and stop those unfounded lies. And that's Samuel's message. There is George Ampofu who says that, please, about the economy turning good or worse, yours only, Seth Tekwe, said on a media station that he has to be honest, the economy is improving. For NDC, the worst they wish the country is amazing. Jane and John, Dadanoa, and that is from George Ampofutua. So somebody saying that Seth Tekwe has acknowledged that the economy is recovering. So why are you
But why would
different?
you listen? You were at this point 70, 80 cedis to the dollar. We are now 30 cedis to the dollar. It's clearly a better situation to be in than to be at 70 cedis to the dollar. But does that not account still for the horrific and horrendous management of the economy?
Okay.
This vice president has the worst record, and to cap it all, Ghana is unable to pay its creditors. It has never happened before. That is the problem, that we have actually been declared bankrupt. The day we start paying our creditors, you see the state of your economy.
But you don't recognize the fact that you had challenges. You have gone through a process of negotiating with your creditors, and your creditors have accepted the fact that indeed you had challenges. Both occasions. What is the
alternative? If the creditors do not agree to some level of restructuring, they will lose their money. And number two, Ghana's economy will crash.
But they have agreed.
But you have shaved off their investments. I'm even surprised you are even asking this question.
The IMF who is holding you. They are on crutches.
Hold on.
Do you think that the pensioners, do you think that the pensioners and all those bondholders had a choice between having their money paid to them, you understand, or forfeiting everything? They had no choice. You put a gun to their head.
I think the only thing that you can do to make fairness in this discussion is to give me more time, because I could see two ganked against me. Please,
we haven't done yet. Nobody has ganked against you. We have time for you on that one. No, we are not discussing.
Just give me 3 minutes.
Again,
just to respond to what he has said.
I will respond.
This economic issue. You see,
hold on. If you make I'm coming to you, Mike.
Yeah.
All I'm just saying is that on the table,
yes,
once you raise an issue, somebody would want to respond.
No, but we have allowed him to respond to issues and not responded to it, because literally the rule has always been that when you are on a topic, we are on a topic.
Yes.
You are rounding up the topic. Then he said he had something to say in response to certain things. So then we let him come in.
Yes.
He said he's done it more than once or twice. So
I intend to be fair. So if he says something and then you want to respond, I would allow you to respond.
It rather confuses the program.
No, it will not.
So I would make.
There is a lot to be said about about the economy. If you want us to really deal with the economy, let us deal with the economy.
I don't want us to.
Your last topic.
I don't
let
want
us deal with the economy.
I don't want us
Give
to.
us 5 minutes to deal with the economy.
You are hijacking the program.
Let's deal with the economy.
I don't want us. You are the one who brings up economic issues.
No.
When you bring it up in your submission, I don't expect that the representative from one side will sit down and not respond to you.
No, see,
yes. So that is the point
about the economy.
No, it was. I
think it was Mr.
Jantua who started.
Mr. Jantua said
and you
something about
graduated the.
Okay,
the
so
point that he was
there's the female lawyer will bring them will be the one to bring the calm.
After then let me make my rebuttal quickly so that
quick one, and
what
then
I'm
she will
saying
bring
is
the
that
calm.
the NDC
Yes.
is creating an impression that whatever debt that we are battling and trying to control was created between 2017 to date, of which is not true. Because if you want to measure our debt, it's always measured against the GDP. So we said Kufuor left 26% to GDP. And then the NDC added 30 percentage points to make it 56% to GDP. And then MPP added 37. If you look at the situation before it started coming down, 37% to make it GDP. So the difference between the two is the 7%. But impression is being created. I see this 100 and something percent that we were some days back were created between 2017 and today. It wasn't that like that. You added 30. So if we have gone to our debtors to negotiate, we are negotiating your debt. And in fact, if you look into the books, what we are to pay now is the 30% you borrowed. Because somewhere 5%, 5 years duration, 10, 15 years, we are now paying. And it's being paid by this government. So they shouldn't create an impression that the debt we are managing now was created by the MPP. What we've created, what we've added, the 37%, most of them are not yet due for payment. So what we are saddled with, the situation that this country is facing, the bankrupt that he's talking about was created between 2009 to 2017. If you go into the books, it was 30 percentage point added to 26% before left it after.
We are not bankrupt now.
Who said we are not bankrupt? I'm saying that if you are no, you are not getting my point. What I'm saying, if he says we are bankrupt because when they pick from 26% to GDP, they added 30 percentage point, which was too much for this country to carry. And that is why we are battling it now. We are not battling what the MPP has gone to borrow, because most of our money that we borrowed is between 5 and 15 years. So it's not due for payment. We are paying years what they borrowed. We are saddled with the debt they left behind. That is what we are working on.
So the point he's making is that
it is a no point, because every government inherits the liabilities and assets.
Then don't complain.
The liabilities and assets
of the
previous government. When you came in, we had running debts that had to be paid. You came to inherit money that you were able to use to pay Kufuor's Euro bond loan that he came to procure. We left you money to be able to pay that. It was due. Why didn't you talk about the fact that one there, it was Kufuor's debt?
When we came in 2017,
boss,
we have to borrow $2.5 billion to offset a loan that we borrowed with a very high interest rate.
Chief,
we were able to get a better deal with a lower interest rate to offset your debt. That's what we did. Before we were able to create space to manage this economy. I wish Heberforth would create one day between the two of us. I'll bring my document, bring yours. Then we debate this economy. Then we know we have created this mess. The mess that you claim we are now.
The fourth Republican history, there has never been any government that has declared the country bankrupt as a result of economic mismanagement.
As a result of what you created.
I think the point Ayipe is making is that when it comes to the debt that we have gone to negotiate, it is not debt that was accrued by the Kufuor government.
You are the government in charge.
Yes.
You are not supposed to pay your debt. Yes. And then you want us to now come and look at whether it was somebody's debt. So when you were borrowing in the name of somebody of Ghana?
The foundation was so bad. You created a bad foundation for us.
You have not been able to pay your debt.
All right. So you are listening to
the stewardship of the vice president.
You are listening to Assassin Radio 99.5 here in Accra, Assassin Radio 100.3 in Cape Coast, 98.5 in Kumasi, Kumasi and 99.7 in Tamale. It is getting heated, I understand. There are some messages on Facebook. Eddie Mensah says that, good morning, Wilberforce. Brilliant submissions by former MP. I believe he's talking about someone, Ayipe. So Ayipe, Eddie Mensah is happy with you. Eddie Mensah says that Lawyer Kpakpo is still doing his things. I don't know which things he's talking about, but that's Eddie Mensah talking about Nick Kpakpo Samoado. Okay, so there's Baba who says that Lawyer Jantua is being dramatical. He is a lawyer.
Right.
What is the role of the president and the vice president according to the constitution? So Baba is saying that Mr. Jantua referred to the constitution. They even added more than 30%. It was only after the rebasing of the economy in 2018
They were 73.
that let it
Rebasing
drop
gave them 56.
to about 30%. So that's Maxwell Appiah Dankwa
Yeah,
bringing that
before
clarity.
the rebasing, they were 73% to GDP. It was
You
rebasing
people have
that
gone
brought them to
over 100%.
56%.
There's no
So
fiscal
no, when
space.
you left power, it was 50,
At least
73.
we were paying our
It
debt.
was
The
rebasing.
point is basic.
Give
And
us,
were we
give
paying
us
our debt?
opportunity one day. Next week,
Let
let
us
us
pay our
come
debt.
and discuss
Oh.
only the economy.
Okay, Nick Kpakpo.
I've
so
been in
the
parliament for
electoral
12 years.
commission.
I know the history of where we are now.
Yeah.
Invite us to come, the two of us.
We'll
We'll
do
come
that.
and sit down here. I'll bring my documents. I'll bring other papers that shows the loans they borrowed and what they did with those loans.
We will do that. I can promise you that we'll do that. So the Electoral Commission has come up with certain developments. It looks like the meetings with IPAC is going very well. But, lawyer, I didn't allow you to make your intervention. Let me allow you to do that before I go. Yes, before I go to the next topic. I'm sorry. I should allow you. I should go ahead. Okay, all right. The conversation is interesting. Okay, good. So the Electoral Commission meeting with IPAC, it looks like there's some consensus. Is this what you've been asking for as a party?
We've been making some demands, you understand, that we want certain things in the electoral system to be maintained. Of course, we want some improvements. But one of it that we felt should not be unheard of was the issue of an attempt to say that we're going to remove the indelible ink. Clearly, that was going to be a recipe for multiple voting, and we were not going to allow it. I'm happy reason has prevailed. And the Electoral Commission has realized that in order for us to have credible elections, you need a partnership between all the major stakeholders, both the ruling and the opposition party. Because at the end of the day, we all want an election whose results will be accepted by all. You lose, you lose. You win, you win. Ghana goes on.
I'm not interrupting you,
Yes.
but you know that they've said that the indelible ink, usually it is applied. Oh no, I'm just making a point. Just to listen to me. Listen. I'm not disputing anything you're saying. I'm only saying that the indelible ink, it was always applied before the person goes to actually vote. Do you think that because they are saying that it is largely responsible for most of the sports ballots,
It's not
should
true.
we do it
It's not true.
after the person has
It's not
voted?
true. It's not true.
So you go and tamprint, and then after that, when you are going, you do
It's
the
not true.
indelible
We've had
ink
situations
as the
where-
last point.
Wilberforce, we've had
Wilberforce.
we've had situations where people have even alleged that people pour ink in their head, those who are counting, and once in a while they put their hand in their head, and then they will be so that they will be spoiling people's ballots. We've heard of all manner of issues or suggestions, but the point has always remained that it has proven to be one of the effective ways of checking multiple voting, because once your nail is marked, even if we see something, we can be able to shout that look, looks like you have voted somewhere. But to say you are going to take that off,
Okay, but do it after the person has actually voted.
that was not the suggestion.
No, I'm only
That-
I am making
well,
that suggestion here.
Well, you could
Yes.
you could write a memo to
Yes.
the EC and give them this as one of your suggestions of improving.
They should do it after you vote.
So you go. The normal process is that when you go and verify your name.
Yes.
The verification is done. You are given the ballot paper.
Yes.
Once you are given the ballot paper, then you go and do the indelible ink
Yes.
before you go and actually thumbprint.
Yes.
We are saying that the indelible ink should be done after you have thumbprinted.
What if I decide I don't want it after I've voted? What if I decide I don't want it?
But
I don't want it. It's going. Yes, forget it.
You must call in the police.
But if it is law, If it is
please.
That
Is it not
what we
law?
are managing. What we are managing,
That
we
one
won't
don't
say
go
that, but do the bank account. Let's keep. That's what we are saying. What already
So you are saying
works?
that it is
What
better
works?
to do the difference
Exactly.
before
What has been
yes.
working for us? Leave it like
Some
that.
controversial people will tell that once I have voted, I will not do that.
Exactly.
Indelible. You can
Yeah,
go to hell.
Go and
Do you
do what
understand?
you want to do.
Please,
Voted.
what has been helping us? Leave it as it is. You understand? It will not spoil anything. We want and this issue about doing the registration at the district offices. I wonder what the problem is with Jenny Mensah. Honestly, sometimes I sit down and I ask myself, what is the woman's problem? Number one, it's not your money. You understand? Whatever budget you ask for, the government gives you. It is supposed to be convenient. When we were doing the new voters register, all of us went to our polling stations. You go to your polling stations and you go and pick your card. You normally, it's a walking distance. That has always been the orientation behind registration of voters. It should be a walking distance from your residence. Why do you subject people to have to travel miles to go and sit at your offices, where we all know that your offices, even the internet at your offices, were going down at certain points? A lot of times they are offline registrations. Why? What is the problem? Everybody says one thing, she says another thing.
But is it still the position? Because from their timetable,
they will do it at the district, but they will try and arrange for difficult to arrange places, and I don't understand. Honestly, sometimes I sit back and I ask myself, what specifically is the woman's problem? I honestly,
I think we should look at the EC as an institution.
it is not an institution, unfortunately. The way the law is structured and the role that the commissioners, the three commissioners
Let's
play.
look at it as an institution and not as a personality.
It's not possible, unfortunately.
Because we need the elections forever and ever. If we want to have the rule of law, free and fair elections, and prevent electoral violence. I know for a fact that for a couple of years, the NDC was not attending IPAC. You know, and that was a bit worrisome. But now they've also joined as, you know, credible stakeholders to be part of IPAC. I also know for a fact that this issue of on and off or periodic voter registration is something that some stakeholders have found does not augur well for us. There must be a continuous
Registration.
You know, opportunity for registration. So when you turn 18 today and it's your birthday, you don't have to wait for next year's program. You can just walk into an EC office and tell them, I'm 18, I want my voter ID card. And I think that is one reason why there's this position that there must be a permanent structure, and that's the nearest EC office, so that people can just walk in and get registered.
We are not there yet. You see, the problem is that.
But we have to
but
start.
You see, you don't start something.
The
You
last
don't have to
time
start
it was
something.
done, what were the successes? What were the
challenges
failures?
were
What were
huge.
the recommendations? It's step by
The
step.
challenges anti-lawyer were huge. You could see the lies. You could see pregnant women. You could see the disabled. You could see the problem. They are practicing. The thing is this: what I find difficult to take as a Ghanaian is when I see a public officer who literally wants to tell us that I will do what I want to do because the power is vested in me as the electoral commissioner, and whatever you give or tell me are suggestions. You see, this lack of accommodation, maybe after being spoken to some of the things, because she was quite insistent on the issue of the Ghana card being the sole basis for identification, and then the issue of she has this attitude of when I say something, I'm the electoral. That is why it becomes a personal issue, because
it's an institution.
She doesn't run the place as an institution.
Consultation with IPAC, including the NDC, your party, and other stakeholders, the Ghana card issue has now been, I'll call it suspended for a while, right?
No, so it is part of the. It is part of the.
Every Ghanaian or every.
Her CI has not been withdrawn. She has not withdrawn her CI yet. She has
Ghana
suggested
card.
that she will withdraw it. She's not withdrawn it yet.
Let's not
No,
but I think what has been agreed
as
upon.
Obama said, we need strong institutions.
But she doesn't. See, the problem. The
So
problem
let's
is that.
not
The problem is
personalize
that
it.
because she's the returning officer for the presidential elections. I don't know whether that is what makes her believe that
if we
she's the
personalize
commission.
it, then anything should be looked at as an institution, constitutionally, the rule of law.
Let her
If we
understand
start
that
personalizing-
the Electoral Commission is at the heart of our elections. So she must always have an accommodating ear. Must always believe that you should not be perceived to. You have to win the trust of all the political players, whether NDC or MPP. You must be able to command their respect and their trust. The issue is a trust deficit. A trust deficit that has not been helped by her attitude until recently.
Okay, but this Ghana card issue, I think that the position really was about the law.
It wasn't about just the law.
No, but the
it
act
was
that
about
has
the
been
fact.
passed-
No,
hold on.
you propose. Even the drafting of the CI. The drafting of the CI has always been done by representatives of the parties. This woman comes as EC chairperson and decides that
No.
it is the
I don't like you referring to her
Yes,
as
please.
this woman.
Please,
Because you see, when we allowed that to happen, it's as
especially,
if there's a personal attack on
And-
her.
and
Why?
this is not
She represents an
appropriate.
institution.
She
So
represents
let's
an institution that she has personalized.
yeah, so let's
No,
let's
no,
just
no,
mention. Let's
no,
say that
please.
Jane Mensah.
Yes, Madam Jemensa,
Yes,
what is
yes.
it? This
No,
woman.
Or the
Yes.
electoral commission.
Or the
We've had
commissioner,
so
yes.
many
I
electoral
don't want us to
commissioners.
use
She's made herself controversial. That is why she's at the center of the problem. She's at the center of the problem. Why?
No,
Why
no,
do you
no,
want?
no.
She's the problem, and I should not say she's the problem.
No,
She is our problem.
In fact,
For the NDC, she's our problem.
What I found worrisome was that for a couple of years, the NDC wouldn't attend IPAC. Now they are back. So, so let's look at the progress. Let's not keep.
Oh, we
if
have
you are
we made
back-
some progress. I'm not
Yes.
saying that we've not made
So
progress.
let's
These
do
recent
that.
announcements show that at least the Peace Council and other persons who are talking to her, she's beginning to listen a little.
Yes, yes.
Because
want
there
to
are
listen-
some issues I want to resolve.
Yes, so I'll come to you
But
just
I
after
haven't
him. When he
finished.
finishes, I'll come
I'm
to you.
not saying you have finished.
Yeah, but
I
you
said
cut
there are
me
some-
in.
No,
No.
he's giving all the time to you. So
No.
Honorable. You have been talking.
You
You when you have been talking. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
his attention.
No, but
That
honorable,
we
you
also
have
have
been
our
talking.
time. We must also
Gentlemen,
have our time.
let's-
And the point is honorable.
Gentlemen, hold on.
Institutions,
Gentlemen,
not-
Please,
Oh, brother.
Gentlemen,
It's like this. So the last time I came with you,
But you have also not been. You have been talking.
You're talking more than all of us.
Because you are
Okay.
not normally here. So when you talk, we always keep quiet.
Listen, because you have
Our time is running.
Even three, I want to.
our
please,
time is running.
running our
Our
time.
time is running.
Uh-huh.
As we do all this, the time is running.
Yes.
The time is not
I'm
waiting.
saying that the
Please,
new,
so wrap up in 2 minutes. Yes.
new announcements are welcome, but we still have a long way to go. The issue about the continuous registration, the upcoming registration, the limited registration exercise, I want the NDC and the other parties to reiterate to the Electoral Commissioner. Let us go back to. Let us go back. Let us go back. No, the three commissioners are actually the commission. The other commissioners really don't make much of a difference when it comes to the law. They are the three: the commissioner and then the two
Let's look at the
deputies.
institution,
She is the
please.
person. Now you see, she and her commissioners must listen to good reason. The good reason is that what has worked in the past, which is the principle that you must be a walking distance between yourself and your polling station, must be maintained. It helps for voter participation.
There's a question here for you.
Yes.
Has there been an EC boss who allowed themselves to be a pushover?
This is what I
The
want.
easy, no easy boss. It's not about being a pushover. It's about running a system which has the trust. Other than that, you work with soldiers everywhere. She's the only commissioner who has been surrounded by soldiers. She's the only commissioner that is inaccessible.
No,
You have seen her coming to court
she has
with a bunch
protection.
of police.
Hold on.
The doctor,
Every
Kojuafa,
commissioner-
the policemen. They
No.
always have policemen.
But it is
she's
protection.
she's the only commissioner that has a bunch of soldiers. So
it
will
is-
you maintain the soldiers everywhere?
It is protection.
So when the government change, you still have those soldiers.
The national
It is-
security,
please.
the national security is the one that.
Please.
that
Even the
is-
Speaker of Parliament does not have soldiers. Speaker of Parliament, who is number 3, does not have soldiers like she does. She has almost like a battalion in her house.
Okay,
Why?
so I can see that you have a personal issue with
It has
Madam
nothing to do
Jane.
with a personal issue.
But there's,
it is a matter
there
of
is- there is-
principle.
there's Maxwell Apia Dankwa who says that we saw it, we love it, and we chose it. That person wasn't a problem to Nick Bakpo. Okay, so and you know what the
well.
person is referring to. That's Maxwell's
You let
message.
him-
Yeah,
you didn't even let him
yes.
finish, but you let him go.
We've
Yes.
seen Dr. Ferijan. We've seen Madam Sharato say, at a point in time, some leading members of my party have to use some unpalatable words on Sharato says.
You call them unpalatable.
And all that. It is because she wanted to be firm. In situation like this, what haven't we done to Dr. Ferijan? If you are the EC boss, and you allow yourself to be swayed by the stakeholders of the institution that you are running, especially the political parties, you can never take decisions. So at times they try to be firm, and in being firm, the party, especially in opposition, will say that they are not fair. So these things, what Eni is doing this morning, I am not surprised. Definitely, when you are in opposition and the EC boss want to be fair, you will never be happy with that. It reminds me of my situation when I was workshop manager for Metro Mass Transit. Then Metro Mass had just taken over from OSA, and OSA haven't gone yet. So we're sharing workshop with OSA. OSA was running and exiting, and the Metro Mass is being taken over as a revamped OSA. And I was the workshop manager. What I went through for that 3-year transition, you have no idea. At the point in time, I have to be firm and insist on certain decisions before at the end of the day, OSA left the scene for us to have our peace. And unfortunately for me, most of the workers I was working with are workers who have been seconded from OSA to join Metro Mass. And I happen to be a fresh person recruited from outside to join them to revamp OSA to Metro Mass. It wasn't easy. But if you are a leader, and in a situation like this, where you have political parties all around you at IPAC, and anytime the NDC will say, hey, you pick it. MPP will say, B, you pick it. CPP will say, C, you pick it. How can you be a leader? You can't be such a leader, must be firm in certain decisions. That doesn't mean that when they talk, you shouldn't listen. So they've gone to IPAC. Proposals has been made. It will not take one day to present this CI to put these proposals into a CI and send it to Parliament. It might go to Attorney General's office. As we speak, this CI is still with the Electoral Commission. They haven't even gone to Attorney General. They have to clean it, see what is changeable or amendable. They will put it in the CI, send it to Attorney General's office. Then we'll draw the one already in Parliament and replace it with the new CI. This is exactly what they are going. It takes some time. It's not one day issue. They've come out with a timetable. Let us be patient with them and see how this timetable will run, so that we all. But what we, the MPP, we have done is that, dummy, what we call draft. When the two people are playing the dummy, they put it on their laps. And if I am winning, there's no way I would twist my lap for the dummy to fall down. So what we have done now is that whatever demand that you are making at the Electoral Commission, take it. Because we are winning. So why should we create opportunity for you to say that, we are trying to avoid that. So whatever demand they have made at the APAC meeting,
please, who is the we?
We did not. We in the MPP.
Who is the we trying to avoid it? Who? The MPP is
trying to avoid it. is trying to avoid that flimsy excuse.
But you don't make the decision at the Electoral Commission.
We can oppose it.
We
can oppose it. No.
He says they can oppose it.
IPAC doesn't decide at IPAC. What we do is that we bring proposals. And whether they accept or they don't. And when they accept, we can oppose. The NDC oppose many things. That we could also say that, no, we also don't agree with you. Then the Electoral Commission will take a decision. But we let it go. Because we don't want to create a situation that after Bawumia had become president, somebody will run to court and say that at APAC meeting, we decided A, B, C, D, we proposed and it wasn't accepted. So the decision that we in the MPP have made, that whatever that you want, give it to them. So now it has been given to them. You said, one, the DCs has a registration to be at the DC. We said no. Not only at the DC section. The Electoral Commission, we don't have the capacity to move to all the polling stations, 6,000 plus polling stations. So what we'll do is that we'll go at the DC level. But if
polling stations are not 6,000, polling stations in Ghana, you're talking about 33,000.
38,000. We don't have the capacity to move about this 38,000 polling stations. Oh, it's the electoral areas that are 6,000. Sorry. So when we don't have that capacity, but what we can do now is that we do at the DC centers. But if a parliamentary candidate, whether being NDC, MPP, CPP, whatever, if you think that there are some areas that need to move the center there, there's a flexibility of moving the center from the DC's office to that remote location so that those people can also have advantage to do it. He mentioned of disabled and pregnant women on those who are not be able to access the regional capital. That is why our provision has been made that if you cannot come to the DC center, you can arrange with your district electoral commission officer to relocate the registration center to remote area that you prefer. So I don't understand. And
the NDC and the IPAC has accepted this proposal.
So I don't understand.
Is that the situation?
Here. So
your party has accepted this proposal.
That. They rather came out to announce it. They came out to announce it before the electoral commission came out.
Commendable. There's something that is
commendable.
Yes.
You can have it 100%.
Please let
Madam finish. Yes.
With their program from April 1st right down to December 7th. An expected declaration of presidential results.
I've mentioned that is a timetable.
And I think that's very impressive. In fact, they are from April 1st to May 26th, 56 days of public education on the voter registration exercise. And then through May, July, August, September, right down to December. So we as stakeholders, as the electorate, including key players like the political parties, and IPAC, with their representation, should just make sure that
this timetable is followed. That's all.
Moves on smoothly.
And I think it was agreed on at IPAC as well.
Exactly.
Yes. For the purpose of electoral success.
Yeah. So all the proposal made by the NDC at IPAC has been agreed. And I listened to the NDC General Secretary when they were all saying that no, this meeting, the last IPAC meeting, has been so fruitful, so successful, and even the PNC General Secretary on radio came out to say that ever since he started attending IPAC meeting, this meeting has been the most successful one, and she was happy the way both party members were exchanging greetings and were cracking jokes among themselves. So, get an update from your team, the team that I attended the IPAC meeting, because we've given it to you. Yeah. We are winning, so we don't want to twist our life for the.
So, Mr. Jansa will have the last word on this. But your party was part of the IPAC, and it appears that you have agreed to this process.
We were part of the meeting where we had raised specific objections about the issue of the indelible ink and other things. We still have concerns about the issue of the registration.
You can't get everything 100%.
The registration, when you say at the 100%,
even you, the MPP, were in agreement with us that the registration at the district offices is not helping.
But
is it the aim to deny people the opportunity to register?
The electoral commission has come to the center point.
People to register.
Is that not why he's saying that they agreed that they would do that targeted approach?
This subjective way of how do you decide where some place is so-called difficult to access? Even in Accra, do you know the cost of moving from one point to the other?
So they will go there when the needs are right. They will go there and do the registration.
Why? What is the problem? Is it money?
I've been a victim of that situation where I have to use money to transport people to the business center.
38,000.
When we wanted a new register, what did we do? We did the registration. We did the registration and make it a working
general registration. It's not limited
registration is normally done still within your electoral areas. It is not done at the district offices.
Anyway, I find that continuous registration or limited registration
it is the aim. It is the aim.
I find it close.
So you do what we call electoral areas.
I haven't seen their budget. You have money to do that.
Has she asked and has been denied?
But there's no money. You said we are broke.
You are talking about our elections.
Yes, but you said
you
were broke.
are a government, so you got your developmental partners and ask for help.
And the government has decided the cost why we are broke today.
Okay, Mr. Jantua, Electoral Commission.
Please, you will sink 100 and something million dollars into a hole.
Gentlemen, go to Atomic. Go to Atomic. XYS, $300 million was sunk there. Not even a single apartment.
And you haven't prosecuted anybody.
There is a single apartment was raised. Under the watch of the current Speaker of Parliament, $300 million was sunk in the XYS deal. Not a single apartment was raised.
You are the most expensive hole. The most expensive hole in the world.
The most expensive hole is $300 million. And that one is Atomic. Go there, it is there.
Okay,
hold on. That is the most expensive hole in the world.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time because of the two of you. So there is Yakubu who says that my host, please compare the earlier vim of Lawyer Ni to the recent one. So it looks like Ni had a lot more vim when we're talking about the EC than when we're talking about their vice presidential candidates. And then Yvonne Frimpong says that, Yvonne Frimpong, my very good friend, says that today your people are disturbing the whole of Ghana. Okay, so Mr. Jantua, unfortunately, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, thanks to Honorable.
Yes.
You know, if we can use $12 million for a venture that nothing came out of it, can't we find money to do these 38,000 polling stations? Are we not aware that we have 38,000 polling stations and we should make sure we have money to go all around? We can't disenfranchise Ghanaians. And you see, mine on the indelible ink was to save money. That was how I saw it. They needed to save money. But you can't disenfranchise anyone. And that indelible ink is so crucial. Because you see, it is not the electoral commission, it's the people. There are some people who would want to do Canada with elections, who would want to vote more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Making the elections what's the word I should use? A dysfunctional one. And we need to be able to stop them. The indelible ink was doing a good thing. But let me say, if for nothing at all, this time round, the electoral commissioner has been listening to this program, where some of us have been saying, be a mother to everybody. And it looks as if she has calmed down. But we are in the election mood. Let's see what is going to come up. When my fellow counsel says that it's an institution. Yes, I agree it's an institution. But there's a head, and that head has influence over the institution. And once you say something that affects the institution, they come after you.
Indeed. All right. So this has been our show for today. And my guests who have helped me to do this show, lawyer Gloria Ofori-Buedu, she's managing partner at GOB at Law. Thank you very much, madam, for coming. Samuel Ayipe is a former member of parliament for Ayesuano and member of the MPP National Communications Team. Nick Papo Samoa Ado, managing partner, Ado Legal Attorneys and lecturer, Gimpa Law Faculty. Mr. Kwame Jantua, Convention People's Party, and a lawyer. The show has been produced by
presidential candidate.
Okay.
But you know very well that the CPP leadership service in crisis. How can you go and put your good friend to be the candidate of a party in crisis?
He has a historic last name.
They should rather go and put the party.
So you should say the youth crying. Jantua
should rather go and put the party in good shape. The leadership of the party is in crisis.
The show has been produced.
They're outside crying for
the show has been produced by Emmanuel Ohiming with able support from Daniel Gidiglo. My name is Wilberforce Asare. Thank you very much for the privilege of your company.